Chapter 108. Master, could it be that you can't defeat the Hydra? The Xuanwu cub's voice suddenly became a notch louder. It stared at Xing Hui with its big, watery eyes, faintly feeling that it had been deceived. Strictly speaking, my strength is only equivalent to the level 2C beast you mentioned. However, with the enhancement of my combat power and god weapon, I can fight against level 3C beasts and even weak level 4C beasts. Oh, no. The Xuanwu cub let out a shrill cry. I already felt that something was wrong, but you were too scared. You raised your sword and attacked the turtle without giving me any time to think. That's why I signed a master-servant contract with you before I could see your strength clearly. I'm blind. I'm blind. As it screamed, the Xuanwu cub rolled on the ground in pain. It seemed that it had become lively in just a short while. It had to be said that the vitality of a holy beast was indeed tenacious. Stop causing trouble. Since you don't have the ability to deal with this beast tide, come with me and kill as many as you can. No, I'm still young. I'm only 103 years old. I can't go to the battlefield. You can't abuse children. 103 years old, a child? Looking at the Xuanwu cub that had turned from eye to baby, not to mention Xing Hui, even Dan Taiyu felt the corners of their mouths twitch. However, as long as the Xuanwu successfully grew to adulthood, it would have a lifespan of 10,000 years. 103 years old, compared to the long lifespan of the holy bee Xuanwu, was indeed only considered a child. It was still equivalent to a 1-year-old human child. Can the Hydra find your location? That six-headed monster just now left a mark on my body. That's why it was able to charge straight at me. Now that it's dead, without its command, these sea beasts will probably disperse very soon. Humph! That six-headed Jiuying has been attacking Dragon Whale Island for close to 2 months. Even if the 9-headed Jiuying doesn't know that you are on Dragon Whale Island, he will definitely suspect you. At that time, he will raise a tsunami and drown Dragon Whale Island. The Hydra is so stupid. How could it think of such a complicated problem? If it really wanted to, it would have attacked us in the past 2 months. Besides, it's not the only one under my sister's command. Since it chased me out, it should be busy fighting with those sea monsters for the various treasures left behind by my sister. Even if it sent some monsters to hunt me down, it should only be some small monsters. Xuanwu cub's words brought Xing Hui back to reality. Beasts were different from humans. Their intelligence was far from the level of humans. The only reason they could fight against humans was because of their innate advantage. Not to mention the Hydra that had not fully transformed into a sacred beast. Even some sacred beast intelligence could not be compared to humans. In this way, without the command of the six-headed semi-holy beast, these sea beasts should gradually retreat, and the crisis of Northern Sea City will naturally be resolved. Really? Dan Taiyu's eyes lit up. Of course. After saying that, Xing Hui came in front of the six-headed Jiuying. Since he had already exposed the means of the Son of Chaos in front of Dan Taiyu, he did not avoid suspicion. With a wave of his hand, the huge six-headed Jiuying was stored in his personal space. Although this six-headed Jiuying had not fully transformed into a true Jiuying sacred beast, it was still a level 4 semi-holy beast. If he were to sell it, it would fetch a high price. The spirit stones he used to buy the fire attribute treasures fell on this sea monster. Such a huge carcass disappeared in an instant. Is this the legendary personal space of the Son of Chaos? Dan Taiyu asked. Xing Hui nodded and turned his gaze to the Xuanwu cub. During this time, you should rest and recover as soon as possible. Once I upgrade my personal space to the level where it can accommodate living creatures, I will take you away. This baby is a Xuanwu sacred beast. Why should I stay in this small pond? The Xuanwu cub said self-righteously. A level 4 Xuanwu does not have the qualifications to roam the seas. Not to mention what will happen to you if you are discovered by the Hydra. Even if you are discovered by humans, you will face great danger. This baby refuses to accept. After being threatened by Xing Hui, the Xuanwu sacred beast's voice immediately weakened. Then evolve. Evolve to level 5. As long as you are not trapped on an island, you should be able to roam the seas. But It's very difficult, the Xuanwu cub said weakly. Xinghui looked at the Xuanwu cub and also felt that he had not thought things through. The Xuanwu sacred beast had the longest lifespan and the slowest growth cycle among all the sacred beasts. If he wanted to let the Xuanwu cub grow to level 5, it would take at least 20 to 30 years. The target he set for himself was 10 years to reach the vacuum-shattering realm. At that time, let alone the fact that the Xuanwu cub had not yet evolved, even if it did, it would not be of much help to him. Therefore, instead of waiting for the Xuanwu cub to grow, it would be better to kill it and refine its blood essence. The Xuanwu cub, who was originally dissatisfied with Xing Hui's treatment of the small pond, was very good at reading people's expressions. It suddenly trembled in fear and hurriedly shouted, "I will go to the pond now. I will go to the upper reaches of the Luchuan River and hide there. I will concentrate on my cultivation and reach level 5 as soon as possible. Goodbye, master." After saying that, without giving Xing Hui time to react, it fled into the Luchuan River with its 4 short legs and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Although Xing Hui could clearly sense the Xuanwu cub's location due to the master-servant contract, and could even send a message to Xuanwu through the mark on his arm to ask it to return, after thinking for a moment, he finally did not have the intention to kill it and refine its blood. Let's go back to the dam and see if the sea beasts have retreated. If they haven't, the 2 of us can be of some help. Yes, Dan Taiyu responded. She did not even ask about the secrets of the Son of Chaos and the Xuanwu cub in Xing Hui's body. She hurriedly rushed toward the dam at full speed. Xing Hui's figure flew and followed closely behind. The 2 of them, one in front and one behind, shuttled for a moment and soon arrived at the dam on the Longing River. At this time, the entire dam had been completely destroyed in a series of battles. The broken foundation of the dam was littered with hundreds of sea beast corpses. There were first-order, second-order, and several third-order sea beasts. The sea beasts had suffered heavy losses, and so had the human side. Of the hundreds of Awakening Stage and Genuine Chi Stage powerhouses who had followed Dan Taiying, the number of survivors was less than 5. Moreover, all of them were seriously injured. Although 2 of the Awakening Stage powerhouses had survived, they had lost their arms and legs. Even if they could recover in the future, it would be difficult for them to return to the peak. Sister, seeing the human corpses on the dam, Tantaiyu let out a worried cry. She quickly rushed toward the few people who were lucky enough to survive. She only heaved a sigh of relief when she saw a woman who was covered in blood and looked weak and exhausted among the crowd. Sister, they've retreated. These sea beasts have all retreated. They've retreated. Dan Taiying had fought a bloody battle. His spirit and body were exhausted to the limit. Hearing Dan Taiyu's words, he raised his pale and beautiful face and showed a bitter smile. Yes, they've retreated, but our people have also almost been wiped out. Xing Hui slowly stepped forward and swept a glance. Including Tan Taiying, there were 9 of them who survived. Less than 1 out of 10 survived. The real number was less than 1 out of 10. The invasion of the sea beasts in front of him was not a real beast tide, but even so, it had already caused such a huge number of casualties. Hundreds of Awakening Realm and Genuine Chi Realm masters, who were respected inland, had died as if they were chopping melons and vegetables. This made him deeply understand the cruelty of the sea. No wonder the overseas cultivators only wanted to break through to a higher realm and did not care about a broader future. Under the threat of death brought by the sea beasts at any time, the most important thing was to obtain tyrannical strength as soon as possible. Without strength, even if you had a good foundation, you would still fall in the sea beast tide that broke out at irregular intervals. You've been investigating all this time. Do you know what happened? Dan Taiying panted for a moment and asked. Tantaiyu secretly glanced at Ching Su behind her and shook her head in the end. We don't know what happened either. The sea beasts split up when they passed by the Dragon Song River and the Luchuan River. We chased after the sea beasts in the Dragon Song River for a while and killed them. When we returned, the sea beasts had already retreated. That's exactly why we hurried over so quickly. We wanted to see if we could be of any help. Luchuan River? Luchuan River is just a small river and is not suitable for sea beasts to live in. These sea beasts went to Luchuan River. There must be a reason. As Dan Taiying said this, he glanced at Sing Hui, who was standing behind Dan Taiyu, and said in a deep voice, "I'll send people to investigate later, but for now, help me. We'll go to Sea Breeze Fort. Only when the sea beasts in Sea Breeze Fort have retreated will the crisis of our North Sea city be truly resolved." "Sister, do you want to rest? Now is not the time to rest." Tan Taiyin's words left no room for doubt. Seeing this, Dan Taiyu did not say anything. She just sent out a part of her heavy water Jin Qi to heal her, hoping that she would recover as soon as possible. Dan Taiying was swift and decisive. He pointed out a person with light injuries and asked him to stay behind to take care of the 4 seriously injured people. He then gathered the remaining 3 people with light injuries and went straight to Sea Breeze Fort with Dan Taiyu and Sing Hui. However, before they arrived at Sea Breeze Fort, a team of more than 20 Jinshi Realm and Awakening Realm experts under the leadership of General Manager Wu Yu came from the direction of Sea Breeze Fort. When they saw Dan Taiying, Dan Taiyu, and Sing Hui, Wu Yu's tired face suddenly showed joy. "Third Miss, Uncle Wu, you're here. Has the crisis of Sea Breeze Fort been resolved?" "It has been resolved. Just when we couldn't defend Sea Breeze Fort, the sea beasts outside Sea Breeze Fort suddenly became chaotic. It was as if their leader was beheaded, and they suddenly became a group of dragons without a leader. In addition, Master made a prompt decision and used all the spirit source stones in the fort at the same time. The giant spirit source cannons were activated at full power. Immediately, those low-intelligence beasts were blown away in one fell swoop, and Sea Breeze Fort was protected. Wu Yu said with some relief. After Master defended Sea Breeze Fort, he was worried that you would be in danger. He hurriedly sent me to reinforce you. Thank God, both of you are safe." Suddenly became a group of dragons without a leader. Dan Taiying glanced at Sing Hui again from the corner of his eyes, but he did not ask in detail. Instead, he was really relieved. It seems that the disaster of our North Sea city is really over. Chapter 109. The calamity of North Sea City had come to an end. However, the turmoil brought about by the sea beast attack was far from over. In order to defend against the sea beast attack, North Sea City had paid an extremely heavy price. More than half of the city's forces had been lost. In particular, the core strength of the true energy realm and awakening realm cultivators had been reduced to 20 to 30%. North Sea City, which had originally been ranked in the middle of the Dragon Whale Nation's rankings, had fallen to the lowest level. Even the city lord's throne had become somewhat precarious. Tan Taiyu stood on the dilapidated walls of Sea Breeze Fortress. She watched as the remaining guards carried the corpses and buried them. Her eyes immediately reddened. Especially when she saw some familiar faces, she couldn't help but cry. Sing Hui stood on the city wall, similarly feeling the cruelty of living overseas. This time, they had been lucky enough to defend against the sea beast attack. If they hadn't, and Sea Breeze Fort had been breached, what kind of fate would the mortals living under North Sea City's jurisdiction face? The people would be plunged into misery and suffering. Sing Hui, thank you. Thank you for coming out to help. Otherwise, our North Sea City might really have faced a calamity. After a while, Dan Taiyu came to Sing Hui's side, her eyes red. No need. As a guest elder of North Sea City, while I enjoy the benefits of being a guest elder, I am duty-bound to help when North Sea City is in danger. Over the years, North Sea City has recruited over 100 guest elders. Not long ago, there were 60 or so guest elders residing in North Sea City. However, when these guest elders learned of Sea Breeze Fort's crisis, less than 10 of them were truly willing to help. Most of them found an excuse to leave. But because they're only guest elders, we have no right to force them to stay. Sing Hui was slightly startled, but then he understood. Guest elders, they didn't necessarily have to advance or retreat together with North Sea City. Most of the time, guest elders were only a deterrent force, responsible for shouting and cheering. When faced with true danger, it wasn't uncommon for them to retreat halfway. For example, if Tsing Hui wasn't willing to take risks, North Sea City couldn't stop him. Miss Yu has saved my life. Since North Sea City is in trouble, I can't just stand by and watch. Tsing Hui said. Thank you, Dan Taiyu said in a low voice. At this moment, the city lord of North Sea City, Dan Tating, stepped forward and said, Tsing Hui King, I've heard about you from Yuer and Ing. When our North Sea City was in trouble, you were still able to stand by our North Sea City side. We are sincerely grateful for this. Now, I would like to invite Tsing Hui King to be the captain of our North Sea City's Imperial Guard. What does Tsing Hui King think? A captain of the Imperial Army was different from a guest chamberlain. A guest chamberlain was free and could leave at any time. But although a captain of the Imperial Army held an important position in North Sea City, it was equivalent to having the brand of North Sea City branded on them. Leaving North Sea City was no easy matter. I appreciate Mayor Dantai's good intentions, but the position of captain of the Imperial Guards is of great importance. I'm only a Zhenqi realm cultivator. It's really difficult for me to shoulder such a heavy responsibility. I hope Mayor can take back his order. Tsing Hui cupped his hands. Dan Tating could hear the tactful rejection in Tsing Hui's tone. However, he did not feel embarrassed and only sighed with regret. It's a pity. However, Tsing Hui King has made such a great contribution, so it's impossible for my North Sea City to remain indifferent. I've heard that Tsing Hui King cultivates a fire attribute cultivation method. Coincidentally, my North Sea City has a high-grade fire attribute spirit stone, and I bestowed it to Tsing Hui King. At the same time, I promoted Tsing Hui King to an upper guest chamberlain, allowing him to enjoy the same treatment as the deputy city lord of North Sea City. Thank you, Mayor. Regarding these, Tsing Hui did not refuse. Although the high-grade fire attribute spirit stone could not be compared to the flame essence core in Jiuying's head, he could clearly see that there was only one flame essence core in the sacred beast Jiuying's body. After refining the essence, his Zhenqi could only break through a small realm, which was still far from the Qi refining realm. Next, he still needed enough high-grade fire attribute spirit stones to refine his Zhenqi. Otherwise, just relying on absorbing the essence of the sun every day, who knows how long it would take. After this battle, North Sea City suffered heavy losses. The 8 spirit refining realm experts were all dead, including the 3 captains of the Dragon Eagle squad and the Eagle Wing that guarded the dam with Dan Taiying. Now, there were only 4 spirit refining realm experts left in the entire North Sea City. As such, Tsing Hui, who had the strength of a spirit refining realm expert, and Dan Tating had to be roped in. Along with the death of the quasi-holy beast, the Jiu Ying, the crisis of the Sea Breeze stronghold was resolved. Even though there were still sea beasts that came to the Sea Breeze stronghold from time to time, intending to use the Dragon Roar River to go deep into the continent to stir up trouble, their numbers and scale were far inferior to before. Even if the Sea Breeze stronghold was extremely damaged, the attacks of these sea beasts were still repelled one by one due to the presence of the city governor, Tan Tai Ting. Time quietly passed, and half a month passed. In this half a month, the attacks of the sea beasts continued, but due to the lack of intensity, the people of Sea Breeze Fort finally had a chance to breathe and gradually recovered from the disaster half a month ago. At this moment, in Sea Breeze Fort's meeting hall, Mayor Dan Tating, Miss Dan Taiying, who was originally in charge of overseeing Sea Breeze Fort, as well as Wei Yu, Tsing Hui, and a group of true Qi realm experts were gathered together. Looking at this trend, there must have been some unforeseen event that caused the sea to become chaotic. I don't know how long this chaos will last, and our Sea Breeze Fort's various resources are seriously insufficient. Fortunately, we have killed a lot of sea beasts and spirit beasts during this period of time. Now, we need someone to bring these corpses to Shaoyang Sea City and sell them in exchange for sufficient resources. Only then can we safely defend Sea Breeze Fort. Last time, it was Third Miss and I who went to Shaoyang Sea City. This time, let us go together. Wu Yu stood up and said, me, and Tsing Hui King. With the two of us, we should be able to keep these corpses safe. Dan Tating glanced at Tsing Hui, and seeing that he didn't have any objections, he nodded. Then let's do it. Tsing Hui King, I'll have to trouble you to make this trip. This is my duty, Yi Zichen said. Tsing Hui stood up and nodded. Good. I'll order people to load these valuable corpses onto the ships, Dan Tating said, and stood up. Immediately, everyone dispersed and went to do their own duties. However, just as Dan Taiyu was about to leave, Dan Tating suddenly called out, come here. Father has something to say to you. Father, what are your orders? Dan Taiyu bowed slightly. Dan Taiying seemed to have guessed something, and his expression turned solemn. Father, is this related to the future of our North Sea city? Dan Tating nodded at Dan Taiying, and then turned to his youngest daughter, Dan Taiyu. I've noticed that you and Tsing Hui have been quite close recently. What do you think of Tsing Hui? Tsing Hui? When Tan Taiyu heard her father ask about this, she immediately replied, Father, you want to ask if Ching Su is trustworthy, right? I feel that Tsing Hui doesn't have any ill intentions towards our North Sea city. Speaking of this, she couldn't help but think of the scene where Tsing Hui single-handedly fought the Fourth Order half-holy Jiuying. With the strength he had displayed at that time, if he really wanted to attack North Sea City wouldn't be able to resist. No, I'm not asking you if he has any ill intentions towards our North Sea city, but rather, what do you think of his character? I feel that he's quite good, just that he doesn't like to talk much. Then if I were to betroth you to him, would you be willing? Dan Taiyu and Dan Taiying were both shocked. Father? You, little sister, don't speak. Dan Tating waved his hand. To tell you the truth, 10 years ago, I obtained a treasure, a fire attribute treasure that can help others break through to the spirit refining realm. However, you should know that there are too few people who cultivate fire attribute chi overseas, and it's hard to sell it for a decent price. All these years, although I wanted to exchange it for cultivation resources, I couldn't find a trustworthy buyer. Dan Tating sighed as he said this. The overseas was different from the inland. If he didn't know the background of the buyer, the transaction would immediately turn into a robbery. At that time, this treasure would not bring him an opportunity, but a disaster. Dan Taiyu looked at Dan Tating and composed herself. Thinking of what her father said about betrothing her to Tsing Hui, her pretty little face blushed and her voice became softer. Then, Father, you're thinking of you should know the rules overseas. It has always been the case that the strong are respected. Our Dantai family occupies thousands of kilometers of Beihai City's resources. Who knows how many people are jealous of it? Now, our Beihai City's vitality has been greatly damaged. We have lost more than half of our spirit refining realm cultivators, and the true chi and awakening realm cultivators have also suffered heavy losses. As a result, those peak spirit refining realm cultivators who have yet to occupy a city would be tempted. At this point, Tan Tai Ting could not help but sigh. Ching Su has already reached great success in his true chi at such a young age, and has even cultivated holy grade true chi. His battle prowess is not inferior to spirit refining cultivators. It can be seen that his future is limitless. If the two of you get married, it will be the same as being a family. At that time, I will give him this treasure to ensure that his true chi reaches perfection, and even his spirit fuses with his chi, stepping into the realm of astral chi in one go. At that time, a holy grade astral chi cultivator will be comparable to several spirit refining cultivators. Our Beihai City's strength will not decrease, but increase instead, and will definitely make those who covet our city retreat. Dan Tating's words immediately made Dan Taiyu understand the crisis that Beihai City was facing. Survival overseas had always been cruel. The law of the strong being superior was deeply ingrained in people's hearts. Although Beihai City is a subordinate of the Dragon Whale Emperor, in reality, other than those spirit-refining realm cultivators who directly rely on him, he did not care who the Beihai City City Lord was. As long as Beihai City's yearly offerings were not small, it was fine. Now that Beihai City was attacked by sea beasts, its vitality was greatly damaged. At this time, if someone really wanted to loot a burning house, the Dragon Whale Emperor would definitely not come out to protect it. Once Beihai City changes hands, as the original city lord, Dantai's family members, Tantayu's face turned ghastly pale at the thought of the possible outcome. Father, is the situation of our Dantai family really that dangerous? Dan Tating nodded. I reckon that it won't be long before the surrounding powers hear the news and move. I hope that you will consider this matter carefully, Dan Tating said earnestly to Dan Taiyu. Then, he handed the time to the two sisters and turned to leave. Chapter 110. Sister, if you don't have any feelings for Tsing Hui, then don't force yourself. If worst comes to worst, I'll personally go to Heavenly Wood City and marry the son of the Heavenly Wood City Lord. The Heavenly Wood City Lord is one of the only 3 Unity of Spirit Realm experts in our Dragon Whale country. If our North Sea City can form an alliance with them, then the other cities will definitely not dare to have any ideas about our North Sea City. No, the son of the Heavenly Wood City Lord has an extremely bad reputation. These years, he has harmed countless children of good families. Back then, when he met you, sister, he spoke frivolously and touched you. If it weren't for the fact that our North Sea City was at its peak, and that the Heavenly Wood City Lord had just broken through to the Unity of Spirit Realm not long ago, and his realm was still unstable, I'm afraid he would have forced you to marry him. Sister, if you marry this kind of person, you'll be like a lamb entering a tiger's den. Isn't it just marrying a person? It doesn't matter who I marry, as long as he can help our North Sea City survive this disaster. So what if the son of the Heavenly Wood City Lord has a bad reputation? Dan Taiying said with an indifferent expression. However, Dan Taiyu, who was extremely familiar with her, could still see a trace of deeply hidden sadness in her eyes. Seeing this, a trace of determination flashed across Dan Taiyu's pretty face. Sister, don't worry. I know what I should do. After all, I'm a member of the Dantai family. These years, father and sister have brought me a lot of benefits, and with father and sister's help, I've even cultivated holy, true qi. Now that our Dantai family is in trouble, it's time for me to contribute. Moreover, as for Tsing Hui, I still have a good impression of him. It's just that we've only known each other for a short period of time, so I can't accept it all of a sudden. If it really comes to that, I won't reject this marriage. Are you serious? Don't force yourself. Dan Taiying looked at Dan Taiyu. It's true, Dan Taiyu said with a serious face. Dan Taiying stared at her sister for a while. With her understanding of her sister, she wasn't lying. But Dan Taiyu couldn't help but feel a trace of worry when she recalled the formidable strength Tsing Hui had displayed when he killed the half-holy beast and the numerous secrets he possessed. Even though she was willing, Tsing Hui might not agree. However, this thought only lasted for a moment before it was cut off by her. North Sea City was in a crisis. She had to think of a way to resolve this matter herself. She couldn't let these details worry her elder sister and father. But what? It's nothing. We'll make a trip to Shaoyang Sea City right away. If we can purchase another piece of Dark Sky Stone, we'll definitely be able to compete for the position of champion of the Treasure Presentation Assembly. At that time, we'll request the protection of the Dragon Whale Emperor. Not to mention the long term, but at least for the next 10 years, our North Sea City will be able to sit back and relax. The Void Nether Stone can only be chanced upon by luck. Last time, it was a coincidence that allowed us to buy one at a low price. If we want to buy another one, we'll need great luck. Even luck alone isn't enough. We'll have to pay a price that's several times higher than the previous Void Nether Stone in order to buy it. Dan Taiying shook his head. He didn't have much hope in his younger sister's words. However, Dan Taiying smiled mischievously. Elder sister, don't forget that my luck has always been very good. It was a coincidence that I obtained the Holy Rank cultivation technique, awakened the Winged Dragon bloodline, and cultivated the Holy Rank Zhen Qi. Even on a long trip, I was able to come across the corpse of a third-rank sea beast on the road. Maybe this time, we'll really be able to obtain another piece of dark sky stone in Shaoyang Sea City. Dan Taiying was startled. Thinking of the various coincidences that his younger sister had mentioned, he actually didn't know how to refute, because what she said was completely true. Thinking of this, Dan Taiying's mood improved slightly. I don't believe that others can buy the Void Nether Stone, but if it's you, my younger sister, it's really possible. Then I'll look forward to this trip to Shaoyang Sea City. Time was of the essence, so the people of Sea Wind Fort did not delay. Working together, they piled the valuable sea beasts onto a relatively large warship. With Dan Taiyu as the leader, Wu Yu and Xing Hui as the support, the two spirit-refining cultivators immediately set off. The large warship rumbled as it rushed into the sea of clouds, quickly heading towards the direction of Shaoyang Sea City. The warship that Xing Hui and the others were on was a high-grade warship. The quality of the warship was extremely good. If it was converted into a divine weapon, it would be comparable to a third-rank warship. Its average flying speed could reach 240 kilometers per hour. Moreover, warships were different from flying swords. As long as the direction was adjusted, it could fly for 24 hours without stopping. As such, they could fly for nearly 6,000 kilometers in a day. Shaoyang Sea City was the largest sea city within a radius of 40,000 kilometers. It was only 19,000 kilometers away from North Sea City. At sunset on the third day, a huge volcanic island appeared in front of them. The volcano island's mountain peak was so tall that it pierced through the clouds. At the peak of the mountain, there were 16 spaceports that were more than 400 meters tall. The 16 spaceports were only open to the outside. Inside, there was a large amount of precious glass. With the 16 spaceports as the pillars, a huge tower was constructed. The tower was divided into layers, forming a huge shopping mall similar to a modern society. Every time I see Shaoyang Sea City's magnificent building, it makes me sigh in awe. It's really worthy of being called the legendary sea city that took tens of thousands of immortal-level cultivators 10 years to build. Tantaiyu watched as the battleship stopped at the platform that extended out and sighed with fascination. Tens of thousands of immortal-level cultivators? Seems like Shaoyang Sea City's background is not simple. Xing Hui said, "Of course." Wu Yu smiled. Shaoyang Sea City is one of the 4 most famous sea cities in the Inland Sea. Although it's a low-end market, the treasures that are produced from time to time are precious enough to make the elders of the 10 Saint clans jealous. If Shaoyang Sea City doesn't have a strong background, I'm afraid that it would have been destroyed by the overlords of the spirit and Qi integration stage. As far as I know, there are 22 known elders in Shaoyang Sea City. Among these 22 elders, the weakest one is an immortal level rank, 4, and is on the Divine Dragon leaderboard. As for their backer, it's the Tensha of Gojoseon, Zhuxiao, who is ranked 29th on the Divine Dragon leaderboard. He's a great evil in the Green Boundary. Green Boundary. Most of the overseas forces were experts of the immortal level rank 1, rank 2, and rank 3. None of the 10 Saint clans could be compared to the overseas forces in terms of the number of experts of the immortal level rank 4 and rank 5. The reason was that the number of experts of the immortal level rank 4 and rank 5 would decrease. Even if these experts offended the disciples of the 10 Saint clans, as long as they didn't offend them too much, the 10 Saint clans wouldn't necessarily kill them. Instead, they would think of ways to recruit them into the 10 Saint clans and give them the position of a consecrator or a guest to supplement their strength. The Spirit and Qi uniting realm warriors were not a big deal. However, when it came to the Blue Darkness realm warriors who could fly on their swords and travel in the air, they were much more difficult to deal with. The 10 Great Saints sects treated them even more leniently. Even if they accidentally killed a true disciple of the 10 Great Saints sects, as long as they could go to the 10 Great Saints sects to apologize, offer generous gifts, and join the 10 Great Saints sects, the 10 Great Saints sects would turn a blind eye to it. After all, these experts were the decisive battle force. Even the 10 Saint clans might not have many of them. There are only a few experts of the Green Boundary Realm in the entire Oversea. A force with one expert of the Green Boundary Realm could indeed be called the top force. That's right. Therefore, the Shaoyang Sea City is a rare, peaceful place in the sea. Many experts of the Oversea have to follow the rules of the Shaoyang Sea City. They can't use force. Once they use force, they will be hunted down by the entire Shaoyang Sea City's Elders Association and even the 10 Sha of Gojoseon's Washao. Will you pause for a moment? Of course, if you think your strength is amazing, then it's a different story. In the past, the Morning Cloud Sea City of the Four Great Sea City was plundered by a peerless demon of the immortal level rank 6. Not only were many treasures in the Sea City plundered, but countless experts were killed and injured. The number of experts of the immortal level rank 4 who died was more than double digits. Xinghui nodded. Peerless experts of the immortal level rank 6 can live well inland. As long as they don't deliberately make an enemy of the 10 Saint clans, they can live a carefree life. There is no need for them to go overseas. There are many unpredictable dangers in the sea. No one knows what kind of terrifying sea monsters are hidden in the sea. Not to mention an immortal level 6 powerhouse. Even a saint-level powerhouse who is in charge of the 10 sacred clans would be in danger of dying if they were unlucky enough to encounter a saint-level sea area dominator if they stepped into the sea rashly. Xinghui King. The best reputations in the Shaoyang Sea City are the Bashi Chamber of Commerce and the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. Among them, the Bashi Chamber of Commerce is low-end, while the Hiza Chamber of Commerce is relatively high-end. Not only do they have cultivation treasures that true Qi and spirit refining cultivators need, they also sell rank 4 divine weapons and rank 4 armors. If you have time, you can go and take a look. How long will we stay here? It will take 2 days for the warship to be repaired. We will leave in 3 days. Will you pause for a moment before continuing? Of course, if Xinghui has something to do, we can postpone it for a few days. However, we have to return in 10 days. Because in 12 days, it will be the Longjing country's decennial treasure offering assembly. We have to return 2 days before the treasure offering assembly at the latest. I have something to sell, but 10 days is enough. Dan Taiyu glanced at Xinghui and guessed what he wanted to sell. Okay, after we stay in the Bashi Chamber of Commerce's restaurant, Xinghui can do as you please. If there is anything, I will inform Xinghui. Xinghui nodded. The group quickly arrived at the Bashi Chamber of Commerce. Although the prices of the restaurants in Shaoyang Sea City were high, Wu Yu and the others were spirit-refining cultivators and represented Beihai City. Thus, it was not difficult for them to rent a courtyard. After settling down, Xinghui did not stay in the courtyard for long. He went straight out of the restaurant and rented a warehouse in Shaoyang Sea City. He put down the corpse of the semi-holy beast, Jiuying, and then went to the Hiza Chamber of Commerce that Wu Yu said was relatively high-end. The interior of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce was filled with a natural aura. It was obviously just a large courtyard in the air, but the interior was filled with man-made mountains, rivers, pavilions, and streams. At a glance, it was no different from the imperial gardens in the inland. Seeing Xinghui enter, a young female cultivator with a delicate appearance and cultivation in the awakening realm immediately greeted him. Mister, how can I help you? I need to see your chairman. I have a big deal to discuss with your Hiza Chamber of Commerce. Chapter 111. Just as Xinghui entered the Hiza Chamber of Commerce, Jin Yu's figure appeared in Nayland Fei's personal space once again. Tell me, why do you have to enter my personal space to discuss in detail? Nayland Fei looked at the young girl in front of her and said seriously, It's related to your friend called Pak Hui. Jin Yu, you should know that I'm in the chaos level, right? Jin Yu said mysteriously, Of course, you're the same as me. You've received the inheritance of a high-ranking deacon in the Sky Vault. Later on, you had a fortuitous encounter, and your chaos level is even higher than mine, reaching level 13. Nayland Fei said as she stared at Jin Yu, feeling a little strange. Is the difference between the Qing Luan bloodline and the Holy Qilin bloodline really that big? I've received the inheritance for more than 20 years, and I've only received 3 or 4 fortuitous encounters. The items I've received that added up to less than 40 Taoist rhymes. But you only inherited level 11. Now, in less than 30 years, you've risen 2 levels in the chaos level. That's to say, you've obtained more than 200 Taoist rhymes. Could this be the true power of the auspicious divine beast? It's naturally impossible for me to obtain 200 Taoist rhymes just by relying on the auspicious characteristics of the Chilan divine beast alone. My amplification characteristics are different from yours. You're constantly amplifying recovery, talent, personal space, and so on. But for me, among the 13 levels of chaos, other than level 3 comprehension, the other aspect that reached level 3 is luck. This is the true essence of my fortuitous encounters. Luck. Luck was also one of the basic characteristics of the Son of Chaos. Nalan Fei had thought about whether to increase her luck value to make it easier for her to cooperate with the auspicious divine beast bloodline, Hunyuan. But like most experts who believe in their own fate and not the heavens, she was not willing to entrust her future to illusory luck and fortuitous encounters. That was why she did not choose the luck characteristic. Now it seemed that this characteristic might not necessarily be inferior to comprehension, recovery, and personal talent. All right, I'm not going to talk to you about the distribution of my traits. I'm going to talk about your friend Pak Hui. Half a month ago, I met him and used appraisal on him, but he bounced off my appraisal. Do you know what that means? Nalan Fei hadn't noticed this problem before. She was only dissatisfied with Jin Yu's behavior of spying on Xinghui. But now that she thought about it carefully, his chaos level is higher than yours. Nalan Fei was slightly surprised. A moment later, she seemed to realize something and shook her head. It's also possible that his appraisal level is higher than yours. Apart from being able to detect other people's information, appraisal also has the ability to conceal one's own information. The path I walk is the path of fortuitous encounters. Sometimes when an opportunity appears in front of me, but I just have to miss it or can't comprehend it. When I chose the Tier 3 luck attribute, I also chose the Tier 3 comprehension and appraisal. Tier 3 appraisal. Do you think his appraisal level is higher than mine? Tier 3 appraisal. Aside from eccentric oddities like Jin Yu, very few people would raise their appraisal to Tier 3. It was already good enough to give them a Tier 1 appraisal. Some people wouldn't even choose appraisal at all. The principle of appraisal is that it's impossible to appraise a son of chaos whose appraisal and chaos levels are above one's own. Moreover, this principle is mutually complementary. For example, I'm a rank 13 son of chaos. A rank 1 appraisal can appraise the attributes of a rank 13 son of chaos, but a rank 2 appraisal can. As for a rank 3 appraisal, even if he's a rank 14 son of chaos, I'll still be able to see the depths of his level. When he reaches rank 15, I won't be able to obtain his information, but he still won't be able to detect any traces of me using appraisal. If he wants to detect that I'm using appraisal on him and repel it, you're saying Pak Hui is a son of chaos at Tier 16 or higher? Genie nodded. How is that possible? There are only a handful of sons of chaos above Tier 30 in the world, and every one of them is a leader or president of a top chaos organization, let alone a son of chaos who has reached Tier 32. When a son of chaos reaches Tier 30, he opens the Chaos Treasure Pavilion, and there are countless treasures inside. It's very difficult for anyone to resist the temptation of the many precious treasures in the Chaos Treasure Pavilion and store their Taoist rhymes to break through to the mysterious Tier 35. It's impossible for him to inherit a Tier 32 Son of Chaos. It's possible that the Son of Chaos he inherited isn't of a high level, but his opportunities are astounding. Just like me, I directly rose by 2 chaos levels in a short few decades. Impossible. Nalan Fei shook her head. It shouldn't have been long since he obtained the chaos inheritance. Moreover, based on his cultivation method, he didn't awaken an auspicious holy beast like you, which increases one's opportunities. Actually, that's not the point. The point is that he looks like a very outstanding stock with great potential. As a good friend, I'm reminding you to grasp this opportunity well and not miss it. Jinyu grinned and said, completely without the image of a virtuous lady. Nayland Fei frowned. What do you mean grasp this opportunity well? Don't talk nonsense. Jinyu didn't know, but Nayland Fei was very clear about Pak Huey's background. Strictly speaking, the two of them were directly related. Nayland Fei's attitude made Jinyu's eyes light up slightly. You don't have this idea? That's great. When are you going to introduce him to me? If you don't make a move, I'll do it. Who knows? Maybe I'll be able to latch onto a powerful thigh. You're not serious at all. All right, I'm leaving. Although nothing has happened during this period of time, this calmness makes me feel rather strange. Or are you worried about that small place of yours? If it were up to me, you might as well ask your master, the Purple Sky Taoist master, to send a clone over. By then, all the problems will be solved. Do you want the whole world to know that I, a puny immortal level cultivator, have already entered the Sky Vault? Quickly come and kill me and seize my opportunities? Of this, Nayland Fei shook her head. All right. Then think of a way to solve it yourself. Don't forget, you're a member of the Sky Vault. Since the establishment of the Sky Vault, we've never been afraid of anyone. I understand. Then that's it. Sigh, I have to cultivate too. The green netherworld realm requires one to be one with the heavens and understand the mysteries of vitality. Only then can one be at the intersection of the heavens and man and control the air. Why is this realm so difficult? I've been stuck at it for 3 or 4 years. It's only been 3 or 4 years. What's the hurry? Who told you not to point out such a necessary divine skill, like the divine art? Sigh, I'm so regretful. When will I find another divine art? I won't ask for much. Just give me 33 points and let me reach the 14th level. By then, I'll immediately point out the divine art. 33 Taoist rhymes. Nayland Fei waved her hand and didn't bother to pay attention to her anymore. Soon, Jinyu left. After Jinyu left, Nayland Fei gradually calmed down and carefully recalled what she had just said. A 16th level son of primal chaos? Nayland Fei muttered to herself. Looks like Xing Hui's opportunity isn't simple. Bei Zhao's death must be because he obtained a supreme divine item that could overturn the situation of the primal chaos shrine. Because he accidentally leaked the tip of the iceberg, he was killed. Before he died, he projected an incarnation to hide this supreme divine item in the desolate Cloud Mountain range and set up a restriction. Even if that restriction has a trick to attack, it isn't something a Saint Realm expert can't break. This secret involves the life and death of a high-level son of primal chaos. I didn't even tell my master. In order to prevent the person who killed Bei Zhao from linking it to me, because I obtained Bei Zhao's inheritance, I need to quickly take out that supreme divine item to prevent any undue delay. It's not easy for me to break through the restriction alone. But with Xing Hui and cultivating to the prominent divine realm, there's some hope. Cultivating to the prominent divine realm and using the divine art to boost to the saint realm, with the two of them taking turns to attack, it might be possible to break through the restriction. Young master, I am the vice chairman of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce, Long Yufeng. May I know what young master wants to sell? In the Hiza Chamber of Commerce of Shaoyangxi City, Xing Hui met with the vice chairman of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. Although he was only a vice chairman, his cultivation had reached the spirit-refining realm, and his earth chi was dense. Compared to Wu Yu, who was ranked in the top 3 in Beihai City, he was not inferior. I have a corpse of a fierce beast that I need to sell. However, that corpse is too big and inconvenient to transport. I would like to request for Chairman Long to bring some people to accompany me and estimate the price. Corpse of a fierce beast. Hearing that, Long Yufeng was slightly disappointed. Although the price of a fierce beast corpse was not low, it was obviously not a big deal. However, following Xing Hui's next sentence, Long Yufeng suddenly stood up. What? The corpse of a rank 4 half-sacred beast. Young master, you are talking about a rank 4 half-sacred beast? Not a fierce beast, not a spirit beast, a half-sacred beast that is about to transform. That's right. Good, good, good. If what young master said is true, our Giza Chamber of Commerce will definitely buy this corpse at a high price. A rank 4 half-sacred beast corpse cannot be measured by ordinary prices. Some experts who have mastered the method of refining blood essence can even extract low-purity, sacred beast blood from the corpse. Thus, I only intend to use the Giza Chamber of Commerce's channel to sell this corpse through an auction. This, although Long Yufeng was somewhat regretful, he still said, "Young master, please be at ease. Our Giza Chamber of Commerce has been established in Shaoyang Sea City for more than 400 years and has always been known for its reputation. We will definitely sell it at a high price." Good. Sing Hui nodded and immediately brought Long Yufeng and the appraiser of the Giza Chamber of Commerce to the warehouse that he had previously rented. Long Yufeng could not help but sigh when he saw the jiuying of the half-sacred beast that was about to transform. Young master, you are really lucky to be able to come across such a well-preserved corpse of a half-sacred beast. Although this half-sacred beast only has 6 heads and its core has been taken away, if you can find a way to extract a few drops of sacred beast blood, there is indeed a great hope. Our Giza Chamber of Commerce will vigorously advertise for young master. After the sale, our Giza Chamber of Commerce will only take half of the processing fee. Thank you, but my time is limited. Please set the date of the auction to a week later and bid with high-grade fire spirit stones. High-grade fire spirit stones? No problem. There is no lack of fire spirit stones overseas. But a week of advertising may not be enough to sell it at the highest price. Just a week. Thank you. Seeing Tsing Hui's firm attitude, Long Yufeng could only agree. All right, we will arrange it now. Chapter 112. The Giza Chamber of Commerce had been in Shaoyang Sea City for 400 years. Its influence was not something that ordinary merchants could compare to. The news had already spread to every corner of Shaoyang Sea City. In Shaoyang Sea City, there would often be spies sent by the major forces in the nearby seas to pay attention to the movements of Shaoyang Sea City, lest they miss out on the real treasures. When they found out that the Giza Chamber of Commerce actually had the corpse of a rank 4 half-holy beast jiuying for sale, countless cultivators who cultivated similar abilities were alarmed. For a time, there was an endless stream of people coming to ask for a price. This scene made Tsing Hui secretly rejoice. Fortunately, he used the Giza Chamber of Commerce to spread the news. If he sold it himself, he was afraid that he would definitely be annoyed by the endless stream of cultivators. As time passed, the news spread out. Cultivators from other islands who were able to arrived one after another. Magnificent warships arrived and docked at Shaoyang Sea City's spaceport. One day before the official auction, there were already 102 people who signed up for the auction. Among these 102 people, most of them were spirit-refining cultivators. However, there were also 6 people who had reached the spirit-chi unification realm. Among them, the strongest was not much inferior to the dragon whale emperor, Peng Peng. On this day, Tsing Hui was holding the jiuying's flame essence core and absorbing the flame essence into his body. Just as he was refining it, there was a knock on the door. Seeing this, Tsing Hui had no choice but to stop his cultivation. He kept the flame essence core and opened the door. "Didn't I say not to let anyone disturb me?" A man at the awakening realm was waiting outside the door. When he saw Qing Su, he hurriedly apologized. "Young master, Master Xian Fan, ranked 692 on the Divine Dragon rankings, has specially come to visit young master. Master Xian Fan is an esteemed guest of our restaurant, so we can't refuse his request. Please forgive us for disturbing you, young master. I've already reported this to the president, and he has waived your room fees for the next few days." Xian Fan? Although Tsing Hui had some understanding of the overseas experts, he could not remember all of them in a short period of time. However, the 692nd ranking on the Divine Dragon list was enough for him to understand that the person in front of him must be a giant who had achieved the 4 realms of longevity. spirit, and qi, as one could easily obtain a high status anywhere. Even if they went to the 10 great sacred sects, they would still be able to become an elder. The request of such a person was naturally not something the manager of a restaurant under the Ba Shi Chamber of Commerce could refuse. "Invite him in," Sing Hui said. Not long after, a man who looked to be in his 30s walked in with a faint smile on his face. Although this man's expression was calm, it wasn't the kind of calmness where one's heart was as still as water and wouldn't be alarmed even if the sky collapsed. Instead, it was the kind of calmness where everything was in his hands and he didn't fear anyone. Rather than saying that he was indifferent, it was more like a kind of self-confidence and pride that was carved into his bones. "Your Excellency Hyun Fan, may I know why you have come to visit?" Hyun Fan glanced at Sing Hui and saw that he was only at the Jiuying realm. His calm expression couldn't help but become more serious. "I heard that Your Excellency Sing Hui is selling the corpse of a fourth-order, half-holy Jiuying beast. Coincidentally, when I went out not long ago, a fourth-order sea beast dared to besiege me, and I killed it. Considering that my cultivation method requires the blood of a Jiuying, how about I exchange this fourth-order sea beast corpse with you?" As soon as Hyun Fan finished speaking, Sing Hui's expression immediately turned cold. "Since I've already sold this half-holy Jiuying beast corpse to the Hiza Chamber of Commerce, I naturally can't go back on my words. If you're worried about the Hiza Chamber of Commerce, you don't have to worry. I know the boss behind the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. He is Guza, ranked 704 on the Divine Dragon list. As long as I speak to him, I believe that the Hiza Chamber of Commerce won't pursue this matter with you." Hyun Fan said as he stood up and directly reached out to grab Sing Hui. "I didn't do any anti-corrosion treatment on that fourth-order sea beast. If we wait any longer, the effects will be greatly reduced. All right, there's no time to lose. Come with me to the warehouse immediately." Sing Hui's expression changed. A surge of true qi suddenly erupted from his body and immediately bounced off Hyun Fan's right hand. "Whether I go or not is not up to you, Sir Hyun Fan. This is Shaoyang Sea City. Do you want to make a move here? Since I have already decided to sell the Jiuying Beast Corpse, the final owner of the Jiuying Beast Corpse will naturally depend on the bidding price tomorrow. If you offer a high enough price, the Jiuying Beast Corpse will naturally belong to you. You actually don't want to exchange. I have already prepared the fourth-order sea beast corpse. Now that I have spent a lot of effort to transport it to Shaoyang Sea City, you actually said that you don't want to exchange it? Are you playing with me? You really don't put me, Bloodlord Hyun Fan, in your eyes at all?" Hyun Fan glared at Sing Hui. A cold, murderous intent erupted from his body as he coldly stared at Sing Hui. What kind of status did Hyun Fan have? He was ranked 692 on the Divine Dragon list. In the vast sea region, as long as he was careful, he could do whatever he wanted. Even if it was the Shaoyang Sea City, one of the 4 big sea cities, as long as he gave some face to the people in power in Shaoyang Sea City, they would not dare to criticize him. With his status, he was willing to use the corpse of a 4th-ranked sea beast to exchange for the 9-headed infant's corpse with this puny true energy realm cultivator. He had already given this puny true energy realm cultivator enough face. But now he actually dared to refuse. Thinking of this, Hyun Fan's gaze towards Sing Hui became colder. Sing Hui glanced at Hyun Fan. He understood that this Hyun Fan came here to force a trade. If it wasn't for the Shaoyang Sea City's rules, he wouldn't have prepared the 4th-order sea beast corpse. Bloodlord Hyun Fan, right? Using an ordinary sea beast corpse to exchange for a half-holy Jiuying beast corpse? Do you think it's possible? A brain is a good thing, but unfortunately you don't have one. Get out. Sing Hui, right? Very good. For Hyun Fan to be able to cultivate to this level, he naturally wasn't a brainless person. Seeing that Sing Hui wasn't affected by his killing intent at all, he immediately withdrew his aura and returned to his previous calm and confident attitude. Don't be in such a hurry to make a decision. I know that you come from the Dragon Whale Island and are a guest of North Sea City's mayor, Dan Tating. Before you refuse me, you better carefully inquire about my name, Bloodlord Hyun Fan. I'll give you 12 hours to give me the half-holy beast corpse before the auction starts. This way, you can at least get a 4th Order C beast corpse as compensation. Otherwise, trust me, it'll be too late for regrets. Do you need me to call the enforcers of the Shaoyangxi city to throw you out? Sing Hui remained unmoved. Good, good, good. Hyun Fan laughed loudly. I'll give face to the Tensha of Gojoseon and not deal with you in the Shaoyangxi city, but you better pray that you never leave the Shaoyangxi city. As soon as he finished speaking, he turned around and left. Once Hyun Fan left, Sing Hui directly ended his cultivation and headed towards the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. When he arrived at the Hiza Chamber of Commerce, he summoned someone, call your vice president, Long Yufeng, out. Is this how they treat their guests? Prince Sing Hui. Very quickly, Long Yufeng appeared and led Sing Hui to the VIP room. With an apologetic expression, he said, I'm really sorry, Prince Sing Hui. Hyun Fan is our Hiza Chamber of Commerce's top guest. Our Hiza Chamber of Commerce can't refuse his request, so we had no choice but to leak your location. To put it simply, your Hiza Chamber of Commerce can't afford to offend Hyun Fan, so you leak my location? Long Yufeng tried his best to make himself sound more sincere. Our Hiza Chamber of Commerce has some backing, but compared to Hyun Fan, we're still lacking. Businessmen have always paid attention to harmony and wealth. If Hyun Fan really wants to find trouble with our Hiza Chamber of Commerce in the future, our Hiza Chamber of Commerce will definitely have endless troubles in the future. Therefore, we hope that Prince Sing Hui can understand. We've already applied to the president. For this auction, our Chamber of Commerce will not charge a single processing fee and will handle it for Prince Sing Hui for free. I hope there won't be a second time. After Sing Hui finished speaking, he turned around and left. After Sing Hui left, Long Yufeng frowned, and a trace of anger flashed in his eyes. President, he's just a small true chi cultivator. Is there a need to apologize? We've already investigated clearly. His backing is at most the North Sea City of the Dragon Whale Island. The Lord of North Sea City is called Dan Tating, a peak spirit refining cultivator. With this kind of cultivation, he might be considered a top figure on the Dragon Whale Island, but our Hiza Chamber of Commerce has no need to be afraid of him. That's the corpse of a rank 4 half-holy beast. If we have a good refining method, we'll definitely be able to refine some sacred beast blood. Sacred beast blood can't be compared to sacred beast blood essence, but its value is comparable to a rank 4 divine weapon. Why don't we, behind Long Yufeng, a young man who looked to be in his 20th step forward and said with a displeased expression, "Shut up." Before the man finished speaking, he was interrupted by Long Yufeng. Our Hiza Chamber of Commerce has been in business for hundreds of years to have the reputation we have today. Do you want to destroy the reputation we've accumulated over so many years just for the corpse of a half-holy beast? He was very clear about the benefits a good reputation could bring, whether it was on the surface or in private. The man trembled and did not dare to reply. Do your best to advertise. Not only do we have to do this, we have to do it well. Let everyone in Shaoyangxi City know that as long as it's something entrusted to our Hiza Chamber of Commerce, we, the Hiza Chamber of Commerce, will definitely do our best. Yes, the man replied with some grievance and quickly retreated. After reprimanding the man, Long Yufeng immediately went into the depths of the Chamber of Commerce. There, the president of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce, Guza, was chatting with a woman whose aura was similar to his with a smile on their faces. This woman looked to be in her 30s. She wore a translucent gauze dress that revealed her delicate snow-white skin. Her voluptuous figure was filled with a mature and charming seduction. However, there was a calm and pure smile on her pretty face, which made people have the impulse to step forward and tear off the disguise on her body to thoroughly examine her. President, Lady Yuzhen, Long Yufeng's gaze swept across the woman's body. He immediately lowered his head and did not dare to look at her again, afraid that he would lose his composure. How is it? Just now, Hyun Fan has come to force Sing Hui. I have already sent people to spread the news. If something really happens to Sing Hui at this time, everyone will think that Hyun Fan did it. Well done. However, in Shaoyangxi City, we still have to follow the rules of the Ten Sha of Gojoseon. Otherwise, if we anger the Ten Sha of Gojoseon, the consequences will be severe. Therefore, let the bidding continue as normal and pay attention to Hunyuan's whereabouts. This subordinate understands. It's not the first time. I believe you understand the specific operation. Go. Long Yufeng couldn't help but recall the last time they used a similar method to snatch the essence of the great sun and the reward the president bestowed upon them. Immediately, his heart warmed, and he hurriedly replied, "Yes, this subordinate will personally supervise this matter. I definitely won't allow any problems to occur." Chapter 113. Steward Wu. In the afternoon, Sing Hui found Wu Yu. "I have something that will take me a few days. During this period, I might cause some trouble. If you have finished selling the sea beast corpses, why don't you return first?" Wu Yu naturally knew that Sing Hui was the one who had caused a stir in Shaoyang Sea City during this period of time. Furthermore, he secretly guessed that Sing Hui's corpse was most likely related to the beast tied at Sea Breeze Fort. However, since this corpse was obtained by Tsing Hui and North Sea City was planning to rope in Tsing Hui, he naturally would not request for Tsing Hui to hand over the corpse of the fourth-rank half-holy beast. "Do you need her help? If you do, I can leave a group of people behind. You are now our North Sea City's upper guest elder. Although North Sea City is not a big force, you can still contribute to some small matters. There's no need. You and Third Miss should leave as soon as possible. It's best if you leave today." Wei was slightly stunned. Then, as if he had thought of something, his expression suddenly changed. However, he did not reveal any of it on the surface. He only nodded cautiously. "I will arrange for departure. Be careful. If there is any danger, protect yourself first." "I understand." Sing Hui nodded. After Wu Yu left, he quickly made arrangements. Not long after, Dan Taiyu appeared outside Sing Hui's door hesitantly. "Ching Su, I've heard that Xian Fan, ranked 692nd on the Divine Dragon ranking, has come to visit you. He wants to force a deal with you. I've more or less heard of this Xian Fan. It's said that he has an extremely bad moral character and a strange temperament. Just because he's at the 4th level of the longevity realm, he often kills people for their goods. Once a cultivator is targeted by him, they'll never have a good ending. Countless cultivators have died at his hands, but his cultivation is impressive and he has great foresight. He doesn't want to offend people who are ranked at the top of the Divine Dragon ranking. So even though he's committed countless crimes in the past few decades, no one has been able to do anything to him." After hearing this, Sing Hui understood why Hyun Fan asked him to find out his name before making a decision. If it was someone else, after hearing about his various evil deeds, they would have knelt down and begged for mercy in order to save their lives. They would have handed over the treasures in their hands with both hands. But Sing Hui, with the Crimson Dragon Sword in hand, his strength is not weaker than a late-stage spirit-refining cultivator. With the sacred technique, he is not inferior to a mid-stage Spirit-Chi Unity Realm cultivator. That Hyun Fan, who is ranked 692nd on the Divine Dragon list, is probably just an ordinary cultivator in the Spirit-Chi Unity Realm. If he really dares to not know what is good for him and kill his way to his door, he does not mind helping the heavens to eradicate this evil demon who has been doing evil for many years. I know, although the Hyun Fan is amazing, I am not afraid of him. Moreover, you have seen me take out my flying sword. If I really meet a danger that I cannot solve, I can just fly away. Hyun Fan has not entered the Qingming realm and cannot fly. He can't do anything to me. When Tantaiyu thought of the flying sword in Ching Su's possession, she eased up slightly. You're only a cultivator of true Qi after all. Even if you've encountered extraordinary fortuitous encounters and obtained many treasures, it's still extremely dangerous for you to face people who have fused with Qi. The slightest carelessness can lead you into danger, so you still have to be extremely careful. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry, Sing Hui said. After ending the conversation, Dan Taiyu, Wu Yu, and the others quickly summoned many experts of North Sea City and left before night fell. Even if someone like Xian Fan, who was at the unity of spirit and energy realm, went to the Dragon Whale Island, the Dragon Whale Island Lord would have to personally make an appearance, let alone Northern Sea City, which was only a vassal of the Dragon Whale Island Lord. If North Sea City rashly intervened in this matter, it was very likely that it would bring disaster to the entire North Sea City. After watching Wu Yu and the others leave, Xing Hui returned to his room. He knew that today would be the darkest moment before dawn. Tomorrow, after the auction ended, a bloody storm would definitely occur outside Shaoyang Sea City because of the corpse of the half-step holy beast Jiuying. It's about time, Xing Hui muttered to himself. The fire essence core he obtained from the half-step holy beast Jiuying had been continuously absorbed and refined over the past few days. Only a tiny bit was left. As for himself, then, in the next moment, Xing Hui sucked in all of the remaining energy from the fire essence core into his body. After losing all of its energy, the fire essence core immediately disintegrated, turning into ashes from the inside out. As for the energy that entered his body, it surged violently before being absorbed and refined by the blazing golden crow, true qi within his body. In the middle of the night, the extremely pure and blazing golden crow, true qi, began to transform from the inside out. Although the change wasn't obvious, the core of the flame now had a trace of platinum color. Golden crow, true qi, large success. Who? Xing Hui let out a light breath. Suddenly, this breath was like a cluster of flames that ignited in the air, causing the temperature in the room to rapidly rise. This was the impurities that had been expelled from the fire essence core. He was already prepared for this. He took out a high-grade water spirit stone and stimulated the energy within, quickly neutralizing the dissipating flame energy. Jiuying, a fourth-order half-step holy beast, in terms of battle strength, is no worse than those late-stage unity of spirit and qi experts who have cultivated ordinary aura qi. But the fire essence core of such a half-step holy beast can only raise my golden crow, true qi, by a small realm. Xing Hui frowned. At this moment, he deeply felt the difficulty of cultivating divine-grade, true qi. No wonder many cultivators who had awakened the bloodline of divine beasts were often eliminated by the true energy realm and aura qi realm. Less than 1 in 10 could cultivate divine-grade aura qi. Whether or not I can cultivate the golden crow, true qi, to perfection will depend on this auction. I hope this auction won't disappoint me. As Xing Hui spoke, he closed his eyes and continued to cultivate, consolidating the golden crow, true qi, that had reached large success. Time quietly passed. Early the next morning, he went directly to the Heza Chamber of Commerce. The Heza Chamber of Commerce had specially arranged a large conference room for him to bid. When Xing Hui arrived, Long Yufeng, who was in charge of this area, was the first to welcome him. Prince Xing Hui, you've come. We have already prepared the venue and are just waiting for you to come and host it. Xing Hui nodded, as he and Long Yufeng stepped into the venue. Many cultivators who wanted to compete for the corpse of the fourth-order half-step holy beast, Jiuying, looked over at the same time. These cultivators were all at least in the spirit refining realm, including the 6 spirit qi unification realm cultivators. Under the gaze of so many cultivators, if it were other true qi cultivators, they would definitely be frightened and would not be able to speak properly. However, Xing Hui did not seem to notice their gazes and calmly walked to a platform in the center of the venue. Everyone, this brat originally planned to exchange the corpse of the half-step holy beast Jiuying with me. Now that he has broken his promise, after today's auction, I will definitely seek justice for him. However, strictly speaking, the corpse of the half-step holy beast Jiuying is already mine. If you want to bid for it, please consider carefully. Don't lose both the treasure and the treasure. As soon as Xing Hui stepped onto the platform, a voice sounded from below. The one who spoke was Hunyuan. For a moment, many puzzled gazes fell on Hunyuan and Xing Hui. Their eyes were filled with doubt and confusion. I originally thought that to be able to cultivate to the spirit qi unification realm, you would at least have some face. Seems like I have overestimated you. Your shamelessness has refreshed my understanding of human nature. After Tsing finished speaking, he did not give Hunyuan the opportunity to speak nonsense and directly said to Long Yufeng, "Your Hiza Chamber of Commerce is unable to control this person, but does Shaoyangxi City not have the ability to do so? Contact the law enforcement team of Shaoyangxi City and throw this shameless person out." Good. Junior, I hope that you and the corpse of the half-step holy beast Jiuying that should belong to me will never leave Shaoyangxi City. Otherwise, Hunyuan glared coldly at Tsing Hui and said those words with a murderous aura before he turned around and left. This scene shocked many cultivators who originally thought that Tsing Hui had gotten lucky and obtained the corpse of a fourth-order half-step holy beast. Interesting. Have you investigated this thoroughly? Is Tsing Hui really just an upper-honored guest in North Sea City? An upper-honored guest actually has the guts to speak to Hunyuan like that? Sir, we have just received the latest news. Tsing Hui cultivates holy true qi. Moreover, his holy true qi has reached phenomenal completion. His strength is not inferior to an ordinary powerhouse who has cultivated qi into energy. Moreover, rumor has it that he offended a true disciple of one of the saint lands in the mainland and had no choice but to flee overseas. I guess he is new here and does not know how powerful Hunyuan is. His cultivation is only at the true qi realm, yet he managed to flee overseas after offending a true disciple of one of the 10 great saint sects. It seems like this person is indeed extraordinary. Discussions broke out among the crowd. Many people were curious about Tsing Hui. However, that was all. Many people who did not have any background were worried because of Hunyuan's words. They seemed to be worried that even if they managed to obtain the corpse of the half-step holy beast Jiuying, it would still be snatched back by Hunyuan. Seeing this scene, Tsing Hui understood why Hunyuan did not care about his reputation and said those words. He was clearly trying to disgust him and make things difficult for him. At that moment, a murderous intent surged in his heart. However, after a while, he felt that something was amiss. The Hiza Chamber of Commerce clearly knew that he had a conflict with Hunyuan, yet they had repeatedly sent Hunyuan to cause trouble for him. It was unreasonable for the Hiza Chamber of Commerce to allow Hunyuan to bully him like this. After all, this was Shaoyangxi City. After a while, Tsing Hui gathered his thoughts and went straight to the point. Everyone must be here for the corpse of the fourth-level half-step holy beast Jiuying. Vice President Long of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce should have brought you to inspect the goods beforehand. In order to not waste your time, I will not waste any more words. Let's get straight to the point. Both upper and peerless fire-type spiritual stones are available for auction. The ratio of upper and peerless spiritual stones to peerless spiritual stones is 1:15. Chapter 114. The ratio of high-grade and peerless grade spirit stones is 1:15. That's 50% higher than the market price. Although it's hard to exchange 10 high-grade spirit stones for a peerless grade spirit stone, if the price is 11 or 12, it'll be much easier. 1:15. This is clearly aiming for the peerless grade spirit stone. What is this Tsing Hui trying to do? Different grades of spirit stones contain the same amount of energy. Peerless grade, high grade, and ordinary grade spirit stones are only different in terms of energy purity. For him to offer such a high price for a peerless grade spirit stone, could it be that he wants to cultivate God-grade earth chi? Exclamations rang out from the crowd when they heard Ching Su's bid. There's no market for fire spirit stones overseas. Usually, it's only 60% of the price of non-attributed spirit stones. I've long seen the opportunity and had our island master, Lord Longxiang, stockpile a lot of fire spirit stones. Now, there's a chance. High-grade spirit stones, 40,000. At this time, a spirit refining realm red-robed man took the lead. Longxiang Island Master's men. 40,000 high-grade spirit stones the moment he opens his mouth? This is too crazy. 40,000 high-grade spirit stones is almost equivalent to 500,000 ordinary spirit stones. I'm afraid that the price of a rank 4 divine weapon would not be more than that. Longxiang Island Master is an expert ranked 663rd on the Divine Dragon list. He's not afraid of Hunyuan. His men have the confidence to bid. As soon as the bid was announced, the crowd exclaimed. Not long after the red-robed man bid, the crowd quietened down. Obviously, these people were afraid of Hunyuan's words before he left. Those who had the qualifications to bid but felt that they could not afford to offend Hunyuan, even if they wanted to fight for the Jiuying's corpse, they could only endure it and sigh. Some of them even left after weighing the pros and cons. Although the bidding continued, there was no sign of it becoming more intense. Even a few Spirit Chi Unity Realm cultivators did not want to offend Hunyuan and left midway. After an incense stick's worth of time, the price of the semi-holy beast Jiuying's corpse had only reached 56,000 high-grade spirit stones. Compared to the red-robed man's bid, it was only slightly higher. This result made Xing Hui's eyes turn colder. In the end, the red-robed man from Longxiang Island raised the price to 60,000 high-grade spirit stones. No one else raised the price. Because of Hunyuan's meddling, this highly publicized bidding ended with a weak finish. 60,000, the final price was a full 40,000 lower than what Qing Su had expected. 40,000 high-grade fire spirit stones. Even if the price of a fire spirit stone was only 60% of a normal spirit stone, it was still equivalent to 300,000 to 400,000 normal spirit stones. It would not be difficult to even buy a 4th-level divine weapon. Young Master Qing Su, the final bid is out. Shall we complete the transaction now? Long Yufeng arrived before Qing Su and smiled. Compared to his previous respectful attitude, there was a slight change in his attitude. However, Long Yufeng was a Gangqi realm cultivator. It was not inappropriate for him to speak to a genuine Qi realm cultivator with such an attitude. No one could criticize him. Done, Xing Hui said. Prince Xing Hui, do you want the spirit stone cards of the largest overseas trading companies or cash? Cash. Get ready. I'll take them with me. Well, Prince Xing Hui, please wait for a moment. I'll go and explain to His Excellency Tian Fei. After Long Yufeng finished speaking, he summoned a maid to serve Xing Hui. Then he turned and left. Seeing Long Yufeng leave, Xing Hui looked indifferent. Comprehension not only increased one's understanding of cultivation methods and swordsmanship, but also increased one's wisdom. He had already seen through the abnormality of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. Of the 6 Spirit Chi Unity Realm cultivators, other than Hunyuan, the rest were either afraid of Hunyuan's strength or did not have the ability to purchase the corpse of a semi-sacred beast. Or it could be said that the importance of a semi-sacred beast's corpse was not enough for them to spend a large amount of money to provoke Hunyuan, a demon of the evil path. As for those spirit-refining realm cultivators, there were many who wanted to purchase it, but how many of them had the courage to go against Hunyuan? Then he thought about how the news had been mysteriously leaked not long ago, and how Hunyuan had come knocking on his door. When all these coincidences were put together, it was no longer a coincidence. Normally, Qing Su could not be bothered to think about these problems. Most of his attention was placed on cultivation, so he had no time to pay attention to these schemes. But now, he could not help but think about it maliciously. Soon, Long Yufeng brought Xing Hui to the spirit-refining cultivator from Longxiang Island, Tian Fei. Under the witness of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce, Tian Fei opened a big box as tall as a person and said, Xing Hui, the spirit stones you want are all here. 4,000 fire spirit stones, peerless grade. If you're talking about peerless grade fire spirit stones, the ratio is 1 to 15. Of course, Xing Hui looked at the box of peerless grade spirit stones and felt the pure and dense fire elemental qi emitting from it. Even though he could use high-grade fire spirit stones to refine his Jinqi, it would take him a lot of time and effort to refine it first. On the other hand, supreme grade fire spirit stones contained fire origin energy that had reached the pinnacle of purity, allowing him to directly absorb it. Even though it was expensive, it could save him a lot of time. Haha, it's good that you're satisfied. It's a pity that the most valuable parts of the Jiuying's corpse, the fire essence core and water essence core, are not here. Otherwise, the price of the corpse would be even higher. Tian Fei said regretfully. At the same time, he looked at Xing Hui and said, if you find a fire essence core and water essence core of a Jiuying's corpse, you can contact me or come directly to Longxiang Island. We have seen the low price of fire spirit stones in recent years, but we have collected a lot of fire spirit stones. They're not only high-grade fire spirit stones, they're even peerless grade fire spirit stones. If you can take out enough treasures, you will not be disappointed. Xing Hui listened and nodded. He knew that Tian Fei and the others must have guessed that the half-step holy Jiuying's core was in his possession. However, he would not expose this point. There was no market for fire attribute spirit stones overseas. The price was only 60% of ordinary spirit stones. On the other hand, water attribute spirit stones were 40% more expensive than ordinary spirit stones. However, there were also people who saw the business opportunity in this. They bought and sold the cheap fire attribute spiritual stones from overseas to the mainland, and then bought and sold the water attribute spiritual stones from the mainland to overseas. Through this method, they gained profits. Dragon Elephant Island Lord obviously had his own similar channels. If he needed fire attribute spiritual stones in the future, he could go to them. Prince Xing Hui, do you need us to arrange a flying boat for you? Long Yufeng asked enthusiastically after seeing that the two had completed the transaction. There's no need for that. I've already rented a Gale Giant Eagle. We can just ride it there. Gale Giant Eagle? It's not as comfortable as a flying boat. Long Yufeng said with a smile. But it's fast, isn't it? Long Yufeng was slightly stunned. He nodded and said, that's true. Prince Xing Hui has a lot of money with him. He has to go back as soon as possible to avoid being spied on. The Gale Giant Eagle was a mutated beast. Although its blood had not reached the level of a spirit beast, it usually had the strength of an immortal level 1 or even immortal level 2. Moreover, its flying speed was extremely fast and its endurance was amazing. It could fly for 3 days and 3 nights at a speed of 200 to 300 kilometers per hour. An ordinary flying boat could not be compared to it. Goodbye, Xing Hui said to Tian Fei. He then called for the carriage that the Heza Chamber of Commerce had prepared outside. He asked someone to load the box onto the carriage and headed to the Xingtian Pavilion, which specialized in the rental and sale of flying beasts in Shaoyangxi City. Prince Xing Hui, the Gale Giant Eagle that you asked for is ready. However, due to some special reasons, Prince Xing Hui needs to pay 3 times the deposit, which is 300 spiritual stones. Only then can we let Prince Xing Hui ride the Gale Giant Eagle to the Dragon Whale Island branch. Please forgive us, Prince Xing Hui. Outside the Xingtian Pavilion, Deacon Yu, who was in charge of receiving him, lowered his head and said. Xing Hui looked at the deacon and asked, why didn't you mention the increase in the price yesterday? Our Xingtian Pavilion also needs to maintain operating costs. Prince Xing Hui's trip. To be honest, it's really dangerous. If Prince Xing Hui is willing to hire some bodyguards, it'll be fine. However, you're alone. I have to say that it's very likely that you'll die. Yu hurriedly added, although our Xingtian Pavilion doesn't have many experts, we've established relations with a few experts ranked at the top of the Divine Dragon leaderboard over the years. If Prince Xing Hui is willing, we can help you contact these experts and have them protect you on your way to Dragon Whale Island. All right, I understand. Xing Hui waved his hand. He wanted the Gale Giant Eagle to hide the fact that he had a flying sword and the Son of Chaos personal space. If not for the fact that he was worried about exposing his flying sword, he wouldn't have needed to do this. Prince Xing Hui, why don't you think about it carefully? Not every organization can establish relations with experts ranked on the Divine Dragon leaderboard. If you miss this opportunity, you won't have another one. Spiritual stones. Xing Hui didn't waste any time and handed the spiritual stones over. Seeing this, Yu didn't insist. He could only take Tsing Hui to the Gale Giant Eagle's living area and give him an ordinary Gale Giant Eagle and the Eagle Flute to control it. After taking the Gale Giant Eagle with a wingspan of more than 10 meters, Tsing Hui fastened the box containing 4,000 Supreme-grade Fire Spirit Stones to the Gale Giant Eagle. He then got on the Giant Eagle and flew away. Before long, he had disappeared from the Xingtian Pavilion Square. Seeing Tsing Hui leave, Yu shook his head and sneered, "How arrogant and ignorant. Does he really think that no one will have any ideas about him after he sold the corpse of the half-holy beast Jiuying?" Even if Hunyuan has shifted his attention to the warship on Dragon Elephant Island, those spirit refining cultivators, and even those unity of spirit realm cultivators who covet the 4,000 supreme-grade fire spirit stones on him won't let him go so easily. Since last night, all the rank 2 and rank 3 flying beasts in our Xingtian Pavilion have been rented out. After saying this, he couldn't be bothered to pay attention to this true Qi cultivator who was bound to die. Almost at the same time that Tsing Hui left on the Gale Giant Eagle, more than a dozen flying beasts in Shaoyangxi City rose into the sky at the same time and quickly chased after Tsing Hui. In fact, not long after the auction ended, there were a few small and fast warships that rushed towards Dragon Whale Island. It seemed that they wanted to set up an ambush outside Dragon Whale Island. It could be said that the hundreds of cultivators in Shaoyangxi City who were walking in the gray area all moved because of Tsing Hui's departure. Chapter 115. Tsing Hui did not need to think to guess the movements of the people in Shaoyangxi City. However, to the disappointment of those cultivators who had set a trap in the direction of Dragon Whale Island and waited for him to walk right into the trap, not long after he left Shaoyangxi City, he actually stopped on Dragon Whale Island and stopped on a small island less than 100 kilometers away from Shaoyangxi City that was specially used for people to rest on the way. The small island was less than a kilometer in diameter. It did not have any ancient forests or huge trees, nor were there any mountains or lakes. With a glance, it could be said that it was very difficult to hide someone. Tsing Hui, who had landed on the island, did not have any intention of hiding. He sat quietly on the beach as if waiting for something, waiting for those who had ill intentions to covet the 4,000 fire spirit stones and the fire and water cores that he did not know if they even existed. The cultivators who had followed him here did not make Qing Su wait for long either. In less than half an incense's time, there were cultivators who rode on flying beasts and landed on the island. However, because the number of cultivators was not small and they represented different forces, they did not make a move on Tsing Hui immediately after landing on the small island. Instead, they were on guard against each other, afraid that someone would take the opportunity to attack. Everyone, it's not a good idea for us to be on guard against each other like this. If we delay any longer, there might be even more people coming. If we're not careful, we might even alarm those big shots at the Spirit Unity realm. Thus, it's better for us to discuss a solution first, so as to prevent others from taking advantage of us. A peak spirit refining realm cultivator stepped forward and said solemnly. Not only was he a peak spirit refining cultivator, the two people accompanying him were also not weak. The three of them could be considered to be the strongest force among the 14 spirit refining cultivators that followed them. Sire's words are correct. However, I feel that before we discuss a solution, we should first kill Tsing Hui's Gale Giant Eagle. This way, he would be like a turtle in a jar in the vast sea without a flying beast. We do not need to worry about him making a comeback. A spirit refining cultivator agreed. That's right. Let's take care of our business first, so that we won't fail miserably. This brat knows that there's danger, yet he dares to wait here and not leave. He must be fearless. We should be careful. As he spoke, everyone's eyes focused on Tsing Hui. Since you have guessed that I am waiting for you here because I have something to rely on, why are you still courting death? Tsing Hui's gaze swept across the crowd. From their expressions, he could tell that they had done a lot of robberies. Who represents the Blood Lord, Hunyuan? Who is the informant of the Heza Chamber of Commerce? Looks like you really think of yourself as someone important. No matter how big your trump card is, you're still only at the true energy realm. Don't tell me you want to defy the heavens? Brat, if you have any tricks up your sleeve, use them now. Otherwise, it will be too late when we make our move. Several experts of the aura realm shouted, but everyone's vigilance was raised to the extreme. Who represents the Bloodlord, Hunyuan, and the Heza Chamber of Commerce? If you speak up before you die, I can give you a way out. Of course, if I can't hold back, then don't blame me for what happens next. Sing Hui swept his gaze across these spirit-refining cultivators and was too lazy to be long-winded. In the next moment, a sword light that emitted surging heat waves shot out, brazenly stabbing towards the nearest Gang Chi realm expert. How dare you attack my tiger sharks, men? Do you really think it were easy to bully? Captain, be careful. Rumor has it that this brat has cultivated holy rank true chi. Moreover, his true chi has reached the large success stage. We can't underestimate him. Seeing Sing Hui make his move, the few spirit-refining cultivators who were targeted by him shouted at the same time. The captain of the tiger shark, who was in the late stage of the spirit-refining realm, could clearly feel the heat wave coming towards him. It was almost suffocating. However, he still unleashed his aura chi and turned it into a sharp blade, colliding with the heat wave. Pung! Flames burst out. Sing Hui's Golden Crow Chi was directly turned into Golden Crow Chi under the amplification of the Crimson Dragon Sword. When the divine-grade Golden Crow energy at the level of mastery met with the ordinary energy at the same level of mastery, it was as if a divine weapon had cut into the ground. The saber energy of the Tiger Shark Regiment commander was easily torn apart, and the sword energy of the Crimson Dragon Sword pierced through without losing any momentum. The blazing and sharp sword energy caused his expression to change drastically. Not good. This is Chi. He is not in the late stage of the true Chi, but the Aura Chi realm. Moreover, it is a divine-grade Aura Chi. The captain of the Tiger Shark exclaimed. He immediately dispersed his Aura Chi and retreated. Unfortunately, Sing Hui's Golden Crow Chi was not afraid of ordinary late-stage Aura Chi cultivators. Now that his Golden Crow Chi had reached the late stage and he had taken out the Crimson Dragon Sword, he had an absolute advantage against ordinary late-stage Aura Chi cultivators. As the Crimson Dragon Sword shone brightly, a sword light shot out from the sword and caught up to the retreating Tiger Shark Regiment commander in an instant. Just as he was barely able to unleash his supreme force to defend himself, the sword light had already torn apart his weak supreme force and pierced through his throat at lightning speed. Xiao. After killing the captain of the Tiger Shark Regiment with a single strike, the Green Ruin's sword shuddered, and he became one with the sword. In that moment, he broke free from the combined attacks of the two other cultivators. After dodging their attacks, he suddenly turned around and swung the Scarlet Dragon Sword in his hand at 180 degrees. Sword Chi rampaged. Although the two spirit-refining cultivators had Earth Chi to protect their bodies and were even wearing armor, this kind of defense that was enough to make ordinary true Chi cultivators helpless was like paper in front of the Scarlet Dragon Sword's Golden Crow Earth Chi, breaking it in one strike. The sword ray flashed. Two heads flew into the air. The three spirit-refining cultivators of the Tiger Shark, completely annihilated. The three spirit-refining cultivators of the Tiger Shark were killed in an instant. It was so fast that no one could react. Immediately, a huge uproar broke out among the remaining 11 people. Saint Rank Great Success Stage Aura Chi. It's Saint Rank Great Success Stage Aura Chi. Who said that this kid is only a true Chi cultivator? Saint Rank Great Success Stage Aura Chi cultivators can even fight against Spirit and Chi Unity cultivators. In the Aura Chi realm, other than those who have cultivated Saint Rank Aura Chi, no one can resist it. No, it's not Saint Rank Great Success Stage Aura Chi. It's a divine weapon. The one in his hand is at least a Rank 5 divine weapon. Relying on the Rank 5 divine weapon sharpness, he can transform his true Chi into Aura Chi and erupt with strength not inferior to a Great Success Stage Aura Chi cultivator. When the words rank 5 divine weapon came out, the temptation brought by greed overshadowed the fear brought by the death of the 3 tiger shark cultivators. Rank 5 divine weapon, even if it's a low rank 5 divine weapon, if it lands in my hands, I will have the courage to face spirit and chi unity cultivators. No wonder he, a true chi cultivator, still has the courage to fight against so many spirit refining cultivators. This rank 5 divine weapon is his trump card. Quick, hit the rank 5 divine weapon away from his hand. Without the rank 5 divine weapon, any one of us can kill a true chi cultivator with a flip of our palm. Chaotic shouts came out from the 11 spirit refining cultivators. These spirit refining cultivators have been walking in the gray area for many years, and each of them had their own trump cards. However, since they could see that Tsing Hui's trump card was the rank 5 divine weapon, they naturally could not reveal their trump card so easily. They might as well let Tsing Hui borrow the strength of the rank 5 divine weapon to kill some of the competitors. At that time, they would reveal their trump cards and hit the rank 5 divine weapon away from Tsing Hui's hand. Without the rank 5 divine weapon, Tsing Hui, who is only a true chi cultivator, would be like a turtle in a jar. With such a mentality, the 11 spirit refining cultivators did not have the slightest intention of cooperating. Those who thought that they had a way to deal with the rank 5 divine weapon instead quickly retreated, allowing Tsing Hui to kill the other spirit refining cultivators. Seeing this, Tsing Hui shook his head inwardly. Among the 14 spirit refining cultivators, there were 4 late and peak spirit refining cultivators. If all of them attacked together, they might not be able to do anything to him. However, it was not difficult for them to bring him some trouble and let some of them escape. Unfortunately, each of them represented different powers and were on guard against each other. There was no trust at all, and instead, they allowed Tsing Hui to kill them one by one. Not long later, another 4 of the 11 spirit refining cultivators were killed. Just as Tsing Hui's sword turned and was about to cut down the 5th spirit refining cultivator, that spirit refining cultivator immediately shouted in fear, "Stop, Prince Tsing Hui! Please have mercy. I am following President Gu's orders to follow Prince Tsing Hui. I hope that young master can see that I am only following orders and give me a way out." And, finally forcing out a spy, Tsing Hui's sword slanted, and the sword that was originally aimed at his throat swept past his shoulder, piercing through it. The blazing golden crow chi exploded, causing more than half of his meridians to be incinerated. The intense pain caused him to let out a miserable shriek. You should be glad that you reported your identity. If you were a moment later, I wouldn't even be able to spare your life. Tsing Hui's voice could be heard. He had already borrowed the force from the ground and charged towards another spirit refining cultivator. The remaining 6 spirit refining cultivators belonged to 2 groups. The one that Tsing Hui chose was the weaker one. "Hung, you dare to attack us first. Do you think we're easy to bully?" The leader of the 3, a peak spirit refining cultivator, said, "I'll take out the absolute Yuan ring and trap his rank 5 divine weapon. You guys take this opportunity to kill him." "All right, Boss Zhuzhen, don't worry. As long as we can restrain his divine weapon, his true chi cultivation is not worth mentioning." The 2 spirit refining cultivators who received the order replied at the same time. "Pung." In the next moment, the peak spirit refining cultivator, Zhuzhen, suddenly stepped forward. Using some unknown footwork, he appeared in front of Tsing Hui. The moment Tsing Hui's crimson dragon sword arrived, he waved a strange divine weapon made of 12 palm-sized silver rings, which directly encircled the crimson dragon sword in Tsing Hui's hand. The moment the crimson dragon sword was encircled, Tsing Hui could clearly feel that when he tried to inject his true chi into the rank 5 divine weapon, he was met with great resistance. It was as if he had lost control of the crimson dragon sword that was created by him. "My true chi is depleting so fast. Rank 5 upper grade. Rank 5 upper grade. This is a rank 5 upper grade divine weapon. We're rich. Although it was extremely difficult for Zhu Zhan to restrain the Crimson Dragon Sword, he still shouted in surprise. Rank 5 Upper Grade Divine Weapon. Hearing Zhu Zhan shout, the remaining 3 spirit refining cultivators' faces changed. They no longer cared about reaping the benefits. Attack. Chapter 116. Haha, I've been waiting for you. Unfortunately, you won't have the chance. One of Zhu Zhan's underlings, dressed in black, shouted. A one-used treasure, similar to the eternal blazing sun, was thrown out by him with all his might. In an instant, it exploded in front of the 3 spirit refining realm cultivators. Streaks of extremely sharp and spiritual aura chi shot out, shrouding the 3 spirit refining realm cultivators. In an instant, they were surrounded by more than 10 spirit refining realm cultivators. This was a rank for unique treasure. One-use treasure. The aura chi won't be able to trap the 3 of them for long. Now is the time to kill this kid and take away the rank 5 divine weapon and the 4,000 top-grade fire spirit stones. Haha, with this, we'll be rich. At that time, each of us will have a high-grade rank 4 divine weapon. With the 3 of us working together, even spirit and chi unity realm cultivators will have to give us face. Let's end this quickly. Zhu Zhan and the other 2 spirit refining realm cultivators were strangely excited. Blinded by greed, Tsing Hui's spiritual world shone brightly. The blazing sun burst out with dazzling sword light, illuminating the entire spiritual world. Wong Wong. The next moment, a flying sword pierced through the air. The Qingxian sword, which was fully activated by the sword intent, tore through the air waves with a piercing sound. In an instant, it pierced through the forehead of Zhu Zhan, who was trapping his crimson dragon sword. The sharp and blazing sword light brought along a terrifying impact, sending him flying. At the same time, the crimson dragon sword, which was trapped by the absolute Yuan ring, was finally able to break free. The blazing sword chi once again burst out, like a flaming tornado, fiercely colliding with the sword of the spirit refining realm cultivator. Pung! The flames exploded. It was as if a bomb had exploded in the air. The impact of the explosion instantly burned the grass and would chips on the ground into ashes. Even the spirit refining realm cultivator was engulfed by the flames. Captain, the black-clothed man who used a rare treasure to suppress the 3 spirit refining cultivators was stunned. 2 spirit refining cultivators from their side died in a blink of an eye, especially after unleashing his flying sword to kill Zhu Zhan in an instant. Tsing Hui had already stepped forward and grasped the absolute Yuan ring in his hand, storing it in his personal space. By the time he abruptly came to his senses, Tsing Hui's crimson dragon sword had already arrived in front of him with a blazing heat wave. No! Boom! Sparks flew everywhere. The middle stage spirit refining cultivator was easily killed by Tsing Hui's sword. Even though he tried his best to retaliate, sending out a stream of earth chi that tore apart the flames from Tsing Hui's crimson dragon sword and left a wound on Tsing Hui's shoulder. This level of injury was nothing to Tsing Hui, who had a rank 4 recovery ability. Rumble! A violent roar came from the other rank 3 spirit refining cultivator's battlefield. The treasure that the black-clothed man took out was a rank 4 treasure, refined by a spirit chi unity realm cultivator. The earth chi of such a cultivator possessed a certain level of spirituality. Even without anyone controlling it, it still revolved around the 3 spirit refining cultivators as if it had a life of its own. As such, after Qing Su killed the 3 of them, the remaining 3 had yet to completely destroy the spiritual-filled earth chi. Tsing Hui did not waste his breath on these people. The flying sword that pierced through Zhu Zhan abruptly turned under the guidance of his sword intent and accelerated at full speed. With an ear-piercing whistle, it shot towards one of the spirit refining cultivators. The sword broke the sound barrier in the air, forming a circular wave of air visible to the naked eye. Not good. Stop. We are Hyun fan. The spirit refining cultivator who was hit by Tsing Hui's flying sword saw that Tsing Hui had changed his target and was scared out of his wits. He immediately opened his mouth and shouted. However, the speed of his shout was still slower than the speed of the Qingxian sword. Blood splattered. Before he could finish his words, his head was pierced through by the flying sword. The impact of the sword tearing through the earth qi caused him to fly out. Before he landed, he was already dead. Flying sword. This speed, it's a rank 4 upper grade flying sword. Rank 5 upper grade spirit weapon. Rank 4 upper grade flying sword. The remaining 2 spirit refining cultivators stared at the flying sword that took away their comrade's life. Their eyes were filled with despair. Stop. Prince Tsing Hui, we were only hired by Hunyuan to kill you. Please give us a way out. Tsing Hui's gaze swept across the two of them. I only need one of you alive. In the next moment, the scarlet dragon sword tore through the void and attacked like lightning. The friction between the sword and the air left behind a visible flame sword mark, as if a fire dragon had appeared. Damn it, I'll fight it out with you. Both of their eyes were filled with despair and anger. They roared and activated their earth qi to the extreme. However, before the two of them could receive the final blow from Tsing Hui, one of the 2 spirit refining cultivators attacked the other. A thunderous palm landed on the protective earth qi on the other's chest. The other spirit refining cultivator who was caught off guard was sent flying while vomiting blood. Coincidentally, he met with Tsing Hui's sword. Sila. The flames dissipated. The spirit refining cultivator who was killed by his comrade stared with his eyes wide open. His face was filled with unwillingness as he was killed by Tsing Hui's sword. Prince Tsing Hui, what do you want to ask? I, Su Sheng, dare not hide anything from you. It is difficult for us overseas cultivators to survive and cultivate. For the sake of cultivation, we have to embark on this path of no return. I hope that Prince Tsing Hui can be lenient and keep your promise and spare my life. The 2 spirit refining cultivators who killed his comrade, Su Sheng hurriedly threw away the rank 3 divine weapon in his hand and looked at Tsing Hui in horror, waiting for his final sentence. Qing Su glanced at him and surged with sword intent. With a turn, the Qingxian sword had already shot through the air and hovered before him. It slowly revolved around him like a satellite. Now, answer my questions. If the answer satisfies me, I will not kill you. Tsing Hui looked at the 2 and said slowly, Yes, yes, yes. Prince Tsing Hui, as long as we know, we will tell you everything. The 2 spirit refining cultivators hurriedly said, Let's start with you. Tsing Hui turned to the man from the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. What is the Hiza Chamber of Commerce's plan? I know that they have other plans. President Guza of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce actually wants to take all the benefits. Not only the fire spirit stone on you, Prince Tsing Hui, but also the corpse of the semi-sacred beast Jiuying. When the president sent me to deal with Prince Tsing Hui, he had already brought people to intercept the Island Lord's team. He had already spread the news and caused Hunyuan to appear and clash with Prince Tsing Hui. Thus, in the end, whether it is you, Prince Tsing Hui, or the corpse of the semi-sacred beast Jiuying in the hands of the Island Lord, everyone will place their attention on Hunyuan, thinking that he was the one who did it. The man's words caused a spirit refining cultivator hired by Hunyuan to be dumbfounded. Hunyuan was actually a chess piece chosen by the Hiza Chamber of Commerce to be used as a scapegoat. The Hiza Chamber of Commerce had a good idea. It seems that the 5 spirit and Qi Unity Realm cultivators were also specially chosen. Yes. Among the 5 spirit and Qi Unity Realm cultivators, one of them, Lady Yuzhen, is President Guza's lover. She's on the same side as President Guza. As for the other 4, they either do not have a strong need for the semi-sacred beast Jiuying, or they do not have enough wealth to join in the fun. These people were indeed carefully chosen by President Guza. Even Hunyuan was a target chosen by President Guza. Looking at how skilled Guza is, he must have done this more than once. Yes, according to what I know, this is already the 3rd time, The first time was a secret cultivation method. The second time was a great sun essence. This is the third time. Great sun essence. Tsing Hui's eyes flashed. Are you talking about the great sun essence refined by the Jinwu religion's higher-ups? Yes, that great sun essence was stolen by a high-ranking deacon of the Jinwu religion who betrayed the religion. It is absolutely true. However, because this treasure is unique to the Jinwu religion, it is not easy to get rid of it. In addition, there are too few cultivators of the fire attribute overseas. Until now, no suitable buyer has been found. The man seemed to know what Tsing Hui wanted to ask and hurriedly told him everything he knew about the great sun essence. So now, where's the ambush location? There are not many sea routes from Shaoyang City to Dragon Elephant Island. Moreover, President Guza has already determined the direction of Dragon Elephant Island's warship. The best ambush location is Tridalon Island, an area formed by 3 small islands. When the warship approaches that area, President Guza will have the cultivators he has already bribed to destroy the warship's propulsion system and force it to land in Sankai Island waters. That will complete the ambush. Tridalon Island? The cultivator who claimed to have been hired by Hunyuan paused slightly. Lord Hunyuan said he would wait for me to kill him. After I'm done, the rendezvous point will also be in Sankai Island waters. Very good. It seems that Guza wants to use Hunyuan's power to exhaust Dragon Elephant Island's trump card. Or perhaps the Hiza Chamber of Commerce has hit the jackpot. Originally, they only wanted Hunyuan to take the blame, but in the end, their plan became reality. As Tsing Hui spoke, he looked at the two of them again. Tell me everything you know. In order to save their lives, the two of them did not dare to hide anything. Very quickly, they revealed all the information they knew. Overseas was different from inland. The cruel competitive environment caused the mobility of many overseas cultivators. Very few spirit-refining cultivators would be loyal to others. At best, it could only be considered as the weak relying on the strong. Just like Beihai City, when faced with danger, there were not many who were willing to die for him. Cultivators like Wu Yu who were completely loyal to their master were in the minority. After obtaining the information he wanted, Tsing Hui glanced at the two restless people. First, he kept the treasures of the 12 spirit-refining cultivators. Then Xiao. The sword pierced through the air. Under the astonished gaze of the two, the Qing Xian sword killed all the flying beasts that the cultivators rode. Prince Tsing Hui, since I said that I would spare your lives, I will keep my word. However, to prevent you from spreading any information and spoiling my plan, you will temporarily stay on this island. You can leave only when you are rescued by a passing warship. After saying that, Tsing Hui's gaze faintly swept across one of the flying beasts that had been pierced through by his sword. It was obvious that it was not completely dead yet. Then, he flew up and broke through the air with his sword. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared into the vast sea of clouds. Chapter 117. After Tsing Hui left, the spirit-refining cultivator hired by Hunyuan did not hesitate and brazenly attacked the man with a crippled arm. Although the man seemed to be prepared, his arm was crippled. True fire invaded his body, and his battle prowess was reduced to less than 10%. In an instant, he was heavily injured and killed by the spirit-refining cultivator hired by Hunyuan. After killing the spirit-refining cultivator, the first thing he did was to find a bird that still had a breath left. He immediately gave it medicine and at the same time used a secret technique to stimulate the bird's life force, allowing it to recover some of its vitality and fly up into the sky. Damn it, I wonder if the bird's life force can last until we reach Shaoyang Sea City. Little bastard, you actually dared to put me in such a difficult situation and even wanted to rely on a rank 5 divine weapon to ambush Lord Hunyuan? Courting death. When I reach Shaoyang Sea City, I will definitely let Lord Hunyuan know about this. At that time, I will let you walk right into my trap. The man thought viciously, his eyes filled with cold, killing intent. However, after the bird flew over 40 kilometers it suddenly let out a painful wail. There seemed to be a cluster of sword chi hidden in its body that suddenly erupted, crushing its internal organs and causing it to fall straight to the ground. Not good. That little bastard actually left a hidden attack on the bird. A look of horror appeared in the man's eyes as he watched the bird fall and fall into the sea with him. Plop! The terrifying impact made him spit out a mouthful of blood. Damn it! Even though he had released his earth energy to reduce the force of his fall, he still spat out a mouthful of blood when he fell into the sea. Damn it! 60 kilometers, a trace of resentment appeared on the man's face. But very quickly, he thought of something, and the resentment was replaced by fear. See, it had always been the world of the sea beasts. In the sea, not to mention a spirit refining cultivator, even a spirit chi unity realm cultivator could be trapped to death by ordinary sea beasts, die of exhaustion. Moreover, the outer sea was different from ordinary seas. There were countless ferocious sea beasts living there. Not long after the man fell into the sea, a few beasts had already surrounded him. Get lost. Get out of my way. The man roared furiously. Streams of astral energy burst out and killed the surrounding sea beasts in the blink of an eye. However, that did not stop the sea monsters from surrounding them. Instead, more and more sea monsters surrounded them due to the smell of blood. Occasionally, they could even see a terrifying monster that was equivalent to an immortal-level human. No, no, no! The man screamed in horror as he continued to shoot out his astral energy. The blood of the sea beasts quickly dyed the sea red. However, not only was there no joy in his heart, his fear grew as more and more ferocious beasts rushed over, almost causing his reason to collapse. At this moment, he finally understood why Tsing Hui had purposely left a bird behind. This bird represented a chance of survival. For this chance, the two spirit-refining cultivators would have to fight to the death to determine the victor. However, even if he won in the end, it would be of no use. Tsing Hui had left a stream of true energy in the bird, and it would explode at a certain time. Unless he listened to Tsing Hui and obediently waited on the island for a passing warship to save them, no matter what the result was, he would definitely die. Understanding this, the man's heart was completely consumed by fear and anger. Especially when the rank 2 sea beasts began to appear and surround him, he could not help but roar in anger. Tsing Hui, I curse you. I curse you to be torn into pieces by Hunyuan. I'll wait for you. Hunyuan will soon send you to accompany me. Amidst the mournful scream, the man's body turned into a pool of blood and was devoured by the rank 2 sea beasts that were rushing over. The green ruins flew through the air on his sword, whistling towards the region of Tridalin Island as quickly as he could. Sankai Island waters was about 1,000 kilometers away from Shaoyang Sea. It was neither far nor near. With the warship speed, it would take about 3 to 4 hours to reach there. Ching Su rode the Gale Giant Eagle to this island and killed the 14 spirit refining cultivators, which took him quite a bit of time. Coupled with the fact that he was traveling in a different direction, even if he flew at full speed with an average speed of 500 kilometers per hour, the time to reach Tridalin Island was still very tight. 2 hours passed in the blink of an eye. When Tsing Hui arrived at the Sankai Island waters, a fierce battle had already broken out. 2 warships had crashed near the Tridalin Island. Raging flames continued to burn on the warships and had yet to be extinguished. Many people could be seen screaming near the shore as they swam towards the island at the fastest speed to avoid the sea beasts. Fortunately, the sea beasts living near the shore were not strong. Otherwise, those unfortunate cultivators who fell into the sea would only be able to survive at most 10%. Tsing Hui rode on his sword and swept past these people. Soon, his gaze landed on one of the islands. On that island, several powerful auras were constantly rising and colliding. The battle had already reached its climax. Hunyuan, Guza, the other female spirit and Chi Unity Realm cultivator, is Lady Yuzhen, who has allied with Guza. Tsing Hui's gaze swept past the three powerful cultivators. Among the three spirit and chi unity realm cultivators, Hunyuan seemed to have suffered heavy injuries. Even if his strength was above Guza and Lady Yuzhen, he was still struggling under the pressure of the two spirit and chi unity realm cultivators. Moreover, Guja and Lady True Yuzhen clearly had the intention of completely annihilating Xianfan. Their attacks could be said to be merciless. The battle between the three of them could be said to be extremely tragic. Seems like I'm not too late. Sing Hui's indifferent voice came from the void. Hunyuan, Guza, and Lady Yuzhen, who were fighting fiercely, were startled at the same time. They could not help but look towards Sing Hui, who was in the void. Sing Hui, that's a flying sword. This brat actually has a flying sword. Why would he appear here? I've already sent people to kill him. He should be dead by now. Why would he? The three spirit and chi unity realm cultivators seemed to have thought of something at the same time. Their expressions changed, and they immediately retreated, ending the life and death battle. Sing Hui stepped on his sword and glanced at the spirit-refining cultivator who bought the corpse of his semi-holy beast, Juing, for 4,000 peerless grade fire spirit stones. His eyes were filled with regret. He originally wanted to use this spirit-refining cultivator to establish a connection with Dragon Elephant Island. In the future, he would be able to exchange for more peerless grade spirit stones. But now, there was no more chance. The spirit-refining cultivator's head was separated from his body. Brat, it seems that we have underestimated you. You obviously have an expert behind you. Otherwise, with your strength alone, you wouldn't be able to do anything to the hunting team I sent out. Don't try to act mysterious here. Invite the expert behind you out and let us see him. If the expert you invite is an existence ranked in the top 300 of the Divine Dragon list, I, Hunyuan, will immediately apologize to you. Hunyuan stared at Sing Hui, who was in the void. His gaze swept across the flying sword below his feet, and a trace of greed flashed in his eyes. That's right, Sing Hui. Perhaps there is some misunderstanding between us. However, a straightforward person does not resort to insinuations. Since you appeared here, I guess you have the intention to negotiate, right? Since that's the case, why don't you invite the expert behind you out and we can sit together and discuss how to resolve this misunderstanding? Guza said in a deep voice. Compared to Hunyuan, who was still greedy, he had already faintly felt that something was amiss. As he spoke, he raised his guard. Expert. Sing Hui's cold gaze swept across Hunyuan, Guza, and Lady Yuzhen. The three of them had gone through a series of battles and were no longer in their peak condition. There was no need to talk too much. He already knew what he needed to know. What he needed to do now was to put an end to this matter once and for all. Xiao. In the next moment, Sing Hui's figure flew and shot towards Guza, Hunyuan, and Lady Yuzhen like a ray of light. How dare you? Seeing that Sing Hui actually dared to attack the three divine Chi Unison realm experts with his true energy realm cultivation, Lady Yuzhen shouted sternly, I don't care what kind of expert is behind you. Once I capture you alive, I will naturally be able to interrogate you one by one. Die. As soon as she finished speaking, a rope-like divine weapon appeared in her hand and flew towards Sing Hui to bind him. Her target was the Tier 4 flying sword below his feet. Although they were all in the divine Chi Unison realm, they could only glide or walk on the waves for a short period of time. In the end, they could not be like the Green Hell realm experts who could enter and exit the void and move unhindered. If they wanted to capture Sing Hui, the first thing they needed to do was to control his flying sword. This was to prevent him from retreating when he was no match for them. Rumble. Facing the rope that Lady Yuzhen was using to bind him, Sing Hui's spiritual world shone brightly. The speed of his flying sword suddenly increased sharply, bringing along an ear-piercing explosion as it shot towards Lady Yuzhen. At the same time, a majestic and terrifying aura crazily rose from his body. Divine art. Pung. The Crimson Dragon sword's sword light, under the amplification of the divine art, swept out a thunderous might and fiercely collided with Lady Yuzhen. Lady Yuzhen originally wanted to laugh at Xing Hui for overestimating himself when she saw him charging towards her. No matter how powerful a true Qi realm cultivator was, he could at most contend against a spirit-refining realm cultivator. How could he cross two realms and fight against a divine Qi unison realm expert? However, when the two figures with surging true Qi collided, her face immediately became incomparably alarmed. This is Rumble. The Qi wave exploded. Xing Hui brought along the might of the Crimson Dragon Sword and fiercely slashed at Lady Yuzhen's rope divine weapon. A terrifying heat wave exploded on the tip of the Crimson Dragon Sword, bringing along a destructive power that turned Lady Yuzhen's rope into ashes. The sharp edge of the sword continued to crush down, destroying the protective true Qi on the surface of Lady Yuzhen's body. Before her widened eyes could be filled with fear, the deadly sword light had already collapsed. Die! No! Amidst a mournful and terrified scream, Lady Yuzhen's entire body was crushed into pieces by the Crimson Dragon Sword's terrifying sword Qi. Chapter 118. Yuzhen. How is this possible? Seeing that Lady Yuzhen was killed by Xing Hui in an instant, Guza and Hunyuan, who thought that Xing Hui was relying on the expert behind him, opened their eyes wide. Level 5 Divine Weapon. Level 5 Divine Weapon. He actually has a Level 5 Divine Weapon in his hands. Also, the power that erupted from his sword just now is already not inferior to a green netherworld realm expert. In terms of attack, he is already not inferior to any green netherworld realm expert in the slightest. How could this be? Hunyuan immediately felt a chill run up his spine and straight to his brain. However, Xing Hui would not stop just because of their shock. He slashed Madame True Yuzhen with a single slash from the heavens with an unstoppable force. Then, he turned around, and the Qing Xian sword beneath his feet vibrated slightly. His entire body once again shot out like a shooting star and arrived in front of Xianfan in the blink of an eye. Qing Su showed no mercy at all to this expert of the evil path who had completely messed up his auction. Hunyuan's reaction was extremely fast. Although he was extremely shocked by the death of Lady Yuzhen, in the face of Xing Hui's sword, the battle saber in his hand drew a bright arc and fiercely slashed at the Crimson Dragon Sword, vainly trying to force Xing Hui to retreat. Bang! Sparks flew. Xing Hui's sword seemed to have paused for a moment. However, Xing Hui's talent in swordsmanship had increased, so how could he make such a mistake so easily? The moment his sword was blocked, his entire body suddenly rotated, and the sword made a 180-degree horizontal cut, bringing along a heat wave that distorted space, once again slashing at Hunyuan's body. The sword turned into a raging fire as it rotated, sealing off all the space that Hunyuan could dodge with the force of a prairie fire. Thunder flash. At the critical moment, Hunyuan roared, and his body seemed to have turned into a bolt of lightning, instantly widening the distance between himself and Xing Hui. He escaped from the raging fire and said, "Guza, the two of us have to work together. Otherwise, with his flying sword, we won't even have a chance to escape. In the end, both of us will die here." Although Guza was still fighting fiercely with Hunyuan just a second ago, ambitious and ruthless people like them, who could sacrifice anything for their own interests, naturally judged the danger in front of them. Just as Hunyuan had said, if they did not work together to stop Xing Hui, the two of them would not be able to escape death in the end. Work together. Guja immediately responded, and a layer of scales seemed to appear all over his body. Then, with a wave of his right hand, two gloves completely forged from white bones covered his arms, making it seem as if his hands were equipped with white bone battle armor. Kill! Following Guza's low roar, he had already swept out a monstrous aura. It was like a towering Mount Tai was charging at Xing Hui with all his strength. Every step he took on the ground was like the birth of an ancient ferocious beast, causing the ground to shake continuously. Even the space around him seemed to have been distorted to a certain extent, becoming incomparably heavy. Xing Hui, who was about to chase after Hunyuan again, felt the biting cold danger coming from Guza. The tip of his sword turned, and a stream of light flashed. Before Guza could use the charge to raise his momentum to the limit, the Crimson Dragon sword carried the power of a falling meteor and brazenly pierced down. Rumble! When Xing Hui's Crimson Dragon sword and Guza's bone fist gloves collided, it was like the collision between Earth and Mars. A terrifying shockwave blasted out along with a dazzling flame. The sword chi that exploded from the Crimson Dragon sword instantly tore the bone fist gloves on Guza's body to pieces. The remaining sword chi swept up Guza's arms without slowing down, tearing them into a bloody mess. However, the majestic rebounding force that was emitted from Guza's body was like a tempestuous wave that surged and pounded against his body, causing him to feel as though he had been hit by a speeding train. His body shot out like a cannonball, and his internal organs were already in a mess in the air as he spat out fresh blood. Hunyuan, who was originally being suppressed by Xing Hui and was even being chased after, seized this opportunity and once again displayed his lightning-like speed. He actually caught up to Xing Hui in an instant, and the battle saber in his hand slashed down with lightning. The friction between the blade and the air caused an ear-piercing thunderstorm to erupt in the void. Just the air pressure from the slash of the saber had already caused the ground behind Xing Hui to tear open several trenches. If Xing Hui did not have a flying sword in his hand, Guza's almost crippled hands would have created this opportunity for Hunyuan to attack, which could have seriously injured him. But unfortunately, just as Hunyuan's thunderous saber was about to land on Xing Hui, the Qingxian sword under Xing Hui's feet suddenly burst forth, carrying his body that was flying backward to withstand the impact of the retreat. In a way that did not conform to the laws of physics, he avoided Hunyuan's fatal saber. Not only that, after avoiding Hunyuan's saber, Xing Hui's body trembled slightly. Immediately after, the speed of his sword kinesis flight burst forth again. His entire body was like an arrow that had left the bow, shooting towards Hunyuan. And the arrowhead of this arrow was the 5th-level upper magical weapon in his hand, the Crimson Dragon sword. Not good. Hunyuan was a veteran of hundreds of battles. The first thing he sensed was danger. With a loud roar, he actually turned his thunderous saber around and slashed towards the incoming Xing Hui. However, Xing Hui's explosive speed with the help of the Qingxian sword was simply too fast. It was really like a flying meteor. A second before his saber was about to land on Xing Hui's body, his Crimson Dragon sword had already pierced through Xing Hui's heart. Not only that, the powerful momentum caused Xing Hui to crash into Hunyuan's body. His bent knee heavily hit Hunyuan's head, causing blood to spurt out in an instant. Crack! The sound of bones shattering resounded through the air. Hunyuan's body smashed heavily onto the ground from this collision. Dust flew everywhere, and a ditch was formed on the ground. Even though the powerful aura of the unity of divine Qi realm prevented him from dying immediately, his heart was pierced through and his head was almost smashed into pieces. His eyes were unfocused, and his breathing was weak. Xing Hui's body leaped and landed directly in front of Hunyuan. I, Hunyuan, have roamed the seas, relying on a pair of eyes that have been tempered thousands of times. I have never offended anyone that I can't afford to offend. Today, I actually made a mistake. I thought that I had my eyes on a weak sheep that could be bullied easily. In the end, I didn't expect that you were actually a ferocious tiger that could choose its prey. If I had known earlier, I definitely wouldn't have been tempted by Guza to get involved in this muddy water. Hunyuan's eyes were filled with a trace of regret. Qi. Xing Hui didn't have the time to listen to his nonsense. With a thrust of his sword, he pierced through his head on the spot. Unity of divine Qi realm? In front of Xing Hui, who wielded the Crimson Dragon sword and performed the divine art, he was easily crushed and killed. After killing Hunyuan, Xing Hui's gaze suddenly fell on Guza, whose arms were almost completely crippled. At this moment, Guza was bursting forth with his fastest speed, rushing towards a bird. He had already flipped over and mounted the bird. However, before he could ride the bird and escape, the sword light of the Qingxian sword had already pierced through the bird's body with an ear-piercing explosion, killing it on the spot. Not only that, the Qingxian sword spun and shot out again, aiming at Guza's forehead. Guza's powerful battle instincts allowed him to capture the trajectory of the Qingxian sword at the critical moment. With a roar from his mouth, his body suddenly expanded by 1 meter, transforming into a terrifying giant. He then raised his right hand that was dripping with blood and fiercely struck at the trajectory of the Qingxian sword. Bang! Sing Hui instantly felt his spiritual world tremble violently. In an instant, he almost completely lost connection with the Qingxian sword. Fortunately, his spirit was tyrannical and had already reached the 46th level. In the next moment, the Qingxian sword had already shot out explosively, piercing through Guza's right fist. With an unstoppable force, it pierced through his entire arm and then shot out from his back. The huge impact caused his extremely sturdy body to fly backward and crash onto the ground. Buzz, buzz! The Qingxian sword spun slightly and hovered in front of Sing Hui. Sing Hui glanced at the body of the Qingxian sword and actually discovered that there were cracks on this upper-grade Tier 4 flying sword. It could be seen how ferocious the power of Guza's attack just now was. As expected of the unity of Divine Qi Realm expert on the Divine Dragon ranking, you really have some tricks up your sleeves. Unfortunately, with a wave of his hand, Sing Hui immediately kept the damaged Qingxian sword into his personal storage. Then, he held the sword with one hand and forced his way towards Guza. Guza's left hand was severely injured, and his right hand was pierced through by the Qingxian sword. He was completely crippled. In addition to the injuries from the previous battle with Hunyuan, his strength was already 70% to 80% crippled. Seeing Sing Hui closing in, Guza's expression changed slightly. He quickly said, "Prince Sing Hui, there is no hatred that cannot be resolved in this world. Today, I have fallen into your hands and am no match for you. I admit defeat. As long as you can let me live, I will do whatever you want." Sing Hui was expressionless as he walked forward step by step. Cold sweat suddenly appeared on Guza's forehead. After a while, he seemed to have thought of something and quickly said, "You cultivate fire attribute true Qi, and the quality of your true Qi is extremely high. If it wasn't for the fact that you once offended a direct disciple of the Jinwu religion, I would almost think that you cultivate the Great Sun Golden Crow technique of the Jinwu religion, and the true Qi you condense is also divine grade Golden Crow true Qi. I have a Great Sun essence in my hand. This item was refined by a top expert of the Jinwu religion and is extremely precious. I am willing to give this item to you in exchange for Prince Sing Hui to spare my life. I swear to the heavens that from today onwards, I will never dare to provoke Prince Sing Hui. I believe that after I bring your head to the Hiza Chamber of Commerce, someone will offer the Great Sun essence for me." Sing Hui said, "No, Prince Sing Hui, if you are willing to let me go, I am willing to pledge my allegiance to you and work for you. After all, I am an overlord of the spirit and Qi Unison realm, and I have a great reputation in the overseas region. You have come to the overseas region alone, but if you have the help of a spirit and Qi Unison realm expert like me, you will definitely be able to achieve great things. You might even be able to unify the overseas islands in the future and rule the mainland as the king of the overseas region." Xiao. What answered him was Sing Hui drawing his sword without any hesitation. "Why?" Guza looked at Sing Hui, who was determined to kill him, and a painful expression appeared in his eyes. "There is no why. Even if you are a spirit and Qi Unison realm expert who could become an elder by pledging his allegiance to the top 10 saint sects, I don't care. I need to focus on my cultivation, and I don't want to have to worry about a subordinate of mine scheming against him. Therefore, it is better to use a simpler method to solve the problem. Chapter 119. The simple way was to get things done once and for all. Sing Hui slowly pulled out the crimson dragon sword from between Guza's brows. Even at the moment of his death, Guza's eyes were still filled with regret and unwillingness. Even at the moment of his death, he was still wondering if he, Hunyuan, and even Dragon Elephant Island had all been tricked by Sing Hui using the corpse of a half-holy Jiuying. In the end, he had obtained all the benefits from the three parties and become the biggest winner. Unfortunately, he would never get the answer to this question. Sing Hui's gaze swept across Lady Yuzhen, Guza, and Hunyuan and collected their divine weapons and other items. These people were all experts at the unity of divine Qi realm, and all of them were using fourth-ranked divine weapons. Although their weapons were of the lower grade of the fourth tier, they were still considered a wealthy group in the outer seas. One had to know that only a small number of unity of divine Qi realm experts in the outer seas were using upper grade of the third-tier divine weapons. Apart from the ordinary divine weapons, Sing Hui also found some defensive armors on them. However, the best quality one was Guza's fourth-grade armor. This armor would manifest dragon scales when vital energy was poured into it to protect the wearer. It was almost immune to attacks below the 30th grade. Unfortunately, this armor could not display any decent power in front of Sing Hui's 5th grade upper grade Crimson Dragon Sword. It was broken in one strike. The Virokana essence. Sure enough, he didn't bring it with him. Hunyuan's treasure is also not with him. Sing Hui counted the spoils of war and turned his gaze back to the burning warships. As his figure flickered, he soon appeared in a warship belonging to Dragon Elephant Island. This warship was severely damaged and had fallen into the sea. The ordinary people on it had either been eaten by the nearby sea beasts or had fled to the other two islands of Tritalon Island, far away from the fighting range of the three experts of the unity of divine Qi realm. They were afraid that they would lose their lives in the aftermath of the battle. Sing Hui searched the battleship for a while, and soon found the corpse of the semi-holy beast, Jiuying, in the storeroom. He waved his hand and stored it in his personal space. I don't have enough personal space. I'll increase my personal space when I reach the next level of chaos. As Sing Hui spoke, he scanned the battleship and found another 6,000 supreme grade fire spirit stones. 10,000. This was probably the total price that dragon-esque Elephant Island Lord had paid for the corpse of the semi-holy beast Jiuying. Unfortunately, due to Hunyuan's interference, they only paid a mere 4,000 to successfully obtain the auction item. My golden crow true Qi has almost reached the fire spirit rock of perfection. If I can obtain the essence of the great sun, there's hope for my golden crow true Qi to break through to the Qi refinement realm before my crimson yang true Qi. After receiving the 6,000 supreme grade fire spirit stones, Sing Hui did not waste any more time on the battleship. The battleship itself and the other items on the battleship were definitely worth a lot. Altogether, they were worth a few grade 3 god weapons. However, it was too troublesome to collect all these items. Moreover, Sing Hui was eager to obtain the essence of the Great Sun from the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. He was eager to head to the Hiza Chamber of Commerce to obtain the essence of the Great Sun naturally. He did not have much time to waste. After storing some of the more valuable items into his personal space, he once again rode on his sword and flew towards Xiaoyang City. He covered a distance of 1,000 kilometers in 2 hours. Accompanied by the whistling sound of flowing light, he landed in Xiaoyang City. In a flash, he disappeared into the crowd without a trace. Flying sword. That's a flying sword. Someone actually rode on a flying sword. Flying swords, even the weakest flying sword, is a grade 4 lower grade god weapon. Its value is comparable to a grade 4 upper grade god weapon. In the entire sea region, those who possess flying swords are all overlords ranked in the top 200 of the divine dragon ranking. Could it be that some overlord level character has arrived in our Xiaoyang City? What does our Xiaoyang City have that is worth such a character personally coming? That flying sword rider, just now. I think he looks familiar. He seems to be that Sing Hui who auctioned off the corpse of the half-sacred beast Jiuying in the Hiza Chamber of Commerce not long ago. Sing Hui? What a joke. A true energy realm cultivator has a flying sword? Are you still dreaming? Is that so? Maybe I really saw wrongly. All kinds of discussions could be heard from the place where Sing Hui landed. Not long after, a divine energy unity realm elder from the Elder Council personally brought people to inquire. However, as soon as Sing Hui arrived in Xiaoyang City, he immediately used the crowd to cover his tracks and disappeared without a trace. Even if that divine energy unity realm expert wanted to investigate who had come on a flying sword, he couldn't find anything. After entering Xiaoyang City, Sing Hui went to the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. Where is your vice president Long Yufeng? The person in charge of receiving Sing Hui was obviously not a core member of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. He did not understand the schemes of the upper echelons of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. He only knew that Sing Hui had made a big deal in the Chamber of Commerce. He immediately led him to the VIP lounge. Prince Sing Hui, please wait for a moment. We will invite President Long over. After the receptionist left, not long after, some messy footsteps could be heard from outside the VIP lounge. Sing Hui slightly sensed that there were 4 spirit refining realm cultivators hiding outside the door. As the door of the VIP lounge was pushed open, Long Yufeng stared at Sing Hui in disbelief. After a moment, he seemed to have thought of something and slightly relaxed. The one that left Xiaoyang City was just a clone that you used to attract attention, right? In reality, you have been staying in Xiaoyang City all this time? Sing Hui did not speak and directly threw out 2 items. One of them was Lady Yuzhen's personal earring, which was a special rank 3 treasure. It could make the wearer feel refreshed and had a slight resistance against inner demons during cultivation. The other item came from the Hiza Chamber of Commerce's President Guza. It was a ring, which was also a rank 3 treasure. It could increase the wearer's strength by 10%. Although these 2 treasures were only at the 3rd level, due to them being special treasures, they were extremely valuable. To those who needed them, they were even more valuable than a 4th level divine weapon. Thus, Madame True Jade and Guja often carried them close to their bodies. Seeing these 2 items, Long Yufeng's eyes widened and a trace of panic flashed across his face. After a while, he suppressed the shock in his heart and forced himself to be calm. Prince Sing Hui, what do you mean by this? I believe you recognize these 2 items. I will not waste time. Since I dared to bring the corpse of the half-holy beast Jiuying to auction, I naturally have the confidence to do so. Do you think the corpse of a rank 4 half-holy beast Jiuying is so easy to pick up? Don't tell me you really think that I don't have any experts behind me? If it was before Sing Hui took out these 2 items, Long Yufeng would naturally not care about what he said. However, after seeing these 2 treasures that Lady Yuzhen and President Guza treasured like their lives, he already knew that the biggest backer of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce was most likely dead. And the culprit, it was very likely to be the expert behind Sing Hui in front of him. Thinking of this, Long Yufeng's forehead immediately broke out in a cold sweat. Standing in front of Sing Hui, he faintly trembled. Sing Hui. Prince Sing Hui. I don't know anything. I'm just a small figure who acts as an assistant. I'm just following orders. Long Yufeng tried to force himself to calm down, but the words that came out of his mouth were trembling. It was obvious that he was extremely terrified in his heart. All right, I only need 2 items. The essence of the Great Sun and all the fire attribute high-grade spirit stones of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. If you can give these items to me, I don't intend to ask what the Hiza Chamber of Commerce would do next. If you can't take them out, Sing Hui swept a glance outside the VIP lounge. You're not the only vice president of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. Someone will be able to take them out. Yes. The essence of the Great Sun. I'm President Guza's confidant. I know very well where he hid the essence of the Great Sun. I'll go get personally. In addition, I'll immediately order people to collect all the high-grade fire attribute spirit stones of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. I won't let Prince Tsing Hui return disappointed. Take me there. Long Yufeng did not dare to disobey, and quickly responded, yes. Don't play tricks. Even if I kill you now, the Shaoyang Chamber of Commerce can't do anything to me. If you don't believe me, you can try. As soon as Tsing Hui finished speaking, the Qing Xian sword burst out and stabbed in front of Long Yufeng in an instant. The speed was so fast that it far exceeded Long Yufeng's reaction. When he came back to his senses, the Qing Xian sword was only half a centimeter away from his throat. He was so frightened that he screamed and quickly retreated. Don't worry, as long as you bring me what I want, I won't kill you. Tsing Hui waved his hand, and the flying sword disappeared without a trace. Flying sword? Long Yufeng's eyes widened. At this moment, he no longer doubted that there was an expert behind Tsing Hui. Without the backing of an expert, how could he have obtained a supreme treasure like the flying sword? Without the backing of an expert, how could he have cultivated saint-grade true energy? Without the backing of an expert, how could he have killed a fourth-order half-saint beast, Jiuing? Without the backing of an expert, how could President Gu Jia and Madame True Jade have suffered such a crushing defeat? Moreover, with the flying sword in hand, Tsing Hui could really come and go as he pleased. Shaoyang Sea City had dozens of Spirit Chi Unity Realm elders in charge of maintaining order, but as long as he was on the flying sword, he could easily escape from the elders' pursuit. Relying on the flying beasts under the elders, they could not catch up to Tsing Hui's flying speed. President? President, what happened? At this moment, the door of the VIP lounge opened and two spirit-refining cultivators barged in. They were the ones that Long Yufeng was prepared for. Seeing them, Long Yufeng immediately shouted, "Nothing, nothing, quickly go out, go out." The two spirit-refining cultivators looked at Long Yufeng suspiciously, but seeing that Tsing Hui, a true Qi cultivator, did not seem to be a threat to their vice president, they slowly retreated from the lounge. Seems like they have prepared a backup plan. Unfortunately, if I want to leave, these people will not be able to stop me. All right, where's the Great Sun Essence? Bring me there. Naturally, this way please. Prince Tsing Hui, this way please. Long Yufeng did not dare to disobey and immediately led Tsing Hui to the location where the Great Sun Essence was kept. The location of the Great Sun Essence was not in the Giza Chamber of Commerce, but in an ordinary residence on the volcanic island below Shaoyang Sea City. The people who lived on a volcanic island were usually the lowest level cultivators in Shaoyang Sea City. The two people living in the residence were only in the marrow cleansing realm. No matter who saw them, they would not think that they would have any decent treasures. As Qing Su said that, he directly stowed the bronze statue away. I'll be taking this. Long Yufeng did not dare to disobey. It is its honor to be valued by Prince Tsing Hui. Where's the essence of the sun? It's here. As Long Yufeng spoke, he gestured with his hand and brought him to a jade platform in the innermost part of the room. There were a total of 3 boxes on the jade platform. One of them was a yellow treasure box. Before Tsing Hui touched it, he could already feel the surging heat from it. Immediately, he took a step forward and opened the yellow box. An amber-like gemstone that shone with scorching light appeared right before him. Absorbing it slightly, Qing Su could already feel the true qi of the golden crow within him become restless, slowly pushing towards perfection once more. The essence of the sun is the best item for cultivating the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. It is equivalent to the foundation of the Jin Wu religion. If not for the difficulty in producing the essence of the sun, which limits the progress of the Jin Wu religion's cultivators, the Jin Wu religion might even replace the Fortune Gate and become the #1 holy ground in the eastern wilderness. Satisfied, Tsing Hui kept the essence of the sun. He had just broken through to the great success realm of true qi and still needed time to stabilize this small realm. Furthermore, Compared to swallowing the essence of the sun to push his chi to perfection, he preferred to use the fire spirit stone to cultivate his chi to perfection and then use the essence of the sun to break through. What's in the remaining 2 treasure boxes? Sing Hui asked. This, I don't know. Although I'm President Guza's most trusted aide, I was only allowed to enter this storage room because I helped President Guza obtain the essence of the sun. All right, you can leave now? Yes. Even though Qing Su only seemed to be at the realm of true Qi, coupled with his Saint grade, true Qi, and 4th grade flying sword, he was still afraid to disobey. He left the storage room quickly. Sing Hui did not open the 2 boxes to take a closer look. With a wave of his hand, all the treasures that Guza, the president of the Hiza Chamber of Commerce, had collected over the past few decades were all stored in his personal storage space. His personal storage space, which was already cramped due to the Jueying's corpse, was now filled to the brim. The value of the Tao aura is half. In another month, the level of the chaos will rise to level 18, and then I can expand the space. Qing Su glanced through the storage room. To prevent others from guessing that it was his personal space, he directly took out a quaking bomb he had obtained from the battleship of Dragon Elephant Island. After calculating the fuse, he ignited it and tossed it into the basement. Prince Tsing Hui, when he saw Qing Su come out, Long Yufeng went up to him in a hurry. I put some gadgets in there. You'd better leave as soon as possible. Otherwise, not only will you be in danger, but you won't be able to explain yourself when the Shaoyang Sea City investigates. Qing Su said to Long Yufeng. When Long Yufeng's face changed drastically, he had already flown out of the room. Afterwards, he drew his flying sword, which whistled through the air and pierced the sky in the blink of an eye. Damn it! Long Yufeng cursed and immediately followed Sing Hui out of the house with the fastest speed. Almost at the same time as he leaped out of the house, a loud rumbling sound suddenly came from underground. The entire house seemed to have been overturned by a terrifying force from underground. Countless stone fragments and layers of soil were blasted into the air. The violent, vibrating force swept out from the house, forming a shockwave visible to the naked eye. All the buildings within a 30-meter radius were torn apart and collapsed. Then, the shockwave swept out 100 meters away without slowing down, causing the glass and porcelain of the houses in the area to shatter. Even the cultivators who were hundreds of meters away could clearly feel the tremors. Bastard! Long Yufeng's eyes were full of anger, but looking at Sing Hui, who had already disappeared into the vast sea of clouds, he couldn't do anything. In addition, the violent vibration here had attracted more and more practitioners of Shaoyang Sea City to look in this direction. In order to avoid getting into trouble, he hurriedly escaped with the fastest speed. He didn't even have time to check if there were any treasures left in the destroyed storage room. Sing Hui didn't think that destroying the storage room could hide the fact that he had taken away all the treasures inside, but he didn't mind. As long as he wasn't unlucky enough to meet a peak immortal stage practitioner who desperately wanted to prepare a son of chaos for their juniors. A low-level son of chaos comparable to a divine chi unification stage practitioner might not attract too much attention, especially in a small and remote place like the Eastern Wilderness. Swish! Sing Hui's sword kinesis flight was naturally much faster than a battleship. However, while sword kinesis flight was 2 to 3 times faster than a battleship, it consumed a lot of true chi. The Golden Crow true chi had a unique advantage in killing, but it wasn't known for its recovery ability. As a result, he could only fly and stop for nearly 20,000 kilometers. His efficiency was even slower than a battleship flying 24 hours a day. Speed is indeed a big problem, and in terms of speed, the Hunyuan Heaven Sex Kuan Peng bloodline is the true king. This bloodline talent not only has innate talent that other divine beast bloodlines can't compare to in the early stages, but in the later stages, it's said that it can even touch space and smoothly step into the realm of space. Sing Hui pondered for a moment. Perhaps when he reached the spirit-refining realm and cultivated divine-grade stellar chi, he could enter the Sky Dome realm and obtain the backing of the Sky Dome realm. Perhaps he could consider joining the Hunyuan Heaven Sect? Perhaps he could get his hands on the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's cultivation technique. Even if he hadn't awakened the Kuan Peng bloodline and couldn't bring out the full power of the Black Hole Sutra in his hands, it was still a divine scripture and could more or less help his movement technique. After a while, Tsinghui shook his head and threw this unrealistic idea to the back of his mind. If he joined the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, who knew how many years it would take to obtain the Black Hole Sutra? He couldn't afford to wait. Time passed. It took Tsinghui a full 4 days to return to North Sea City. North Sea City's spaceport was currently bustling with activity. Large birds were transporting valuable goods to a large, specially mounted battleship. The battleship was densely packed with several hundred guards, including the remaining spirit refining experts of North Sea City. Not long after Tsinghui landed in the North Sea City Lord's residence, someone sensed him and quickly ran over. Upper Foreign Elder Tsinghui, the City Lord invites you in. Tsinghui glanced at the guard and nodded. When he arrived at the City Lord's courtyard, he happened to run into Wu Yu and Dan Taiyu, who were also rushing in the same direction. Seeing Tsinghui, the two were pleasantly surprised. Upper Foreign Elder Tsinghui, you're fine. That's great. Tsinghui smiled. Naturally, I used some small tricks to deceive their eyes and ears. It's good that you're fine. Father has something to discuss with you. Tsinghui nodded. The three of them quickly arrived at Dan Tating's study room. Seeing Tsinghui, Dan Tating revealed a smile. Upper Foreign Elder Tsinghui, you're here. We just received good news. Blood Lord Hyun Fan attacked Dragon Elephant Island's battleship. Fortunately, at the crucial moment, people from the Hiza Chamber of Commerce assisted. However, Blood Lord Hyun Fan's cultivation is shocking. In the end, he used some unknown method to perish together with the people from the Hiza Chamber of Commerce. It sounds nice, but I reckon that it's just a trick of the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. However, there should be a stronger expert eyeing them and finally caught them in one fell swoop. Father, you're saying that Blood Lord Hyun Fan and Hiza Chamber of Commerce's Guza are dead? Dan Taiyu was pleasantly surprised. That's right. Dan Tating smiled. In other words, Tsinghui is now safe. He doesn't have to worry about Blood Lord Hyun Fan's revenge. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.